Welcome, everybody. It's Fantasy Endgame. We're live with you once again on this Wednesday, which means only 24 hours away from more football. That's always nice. We got the Seahawks and the Cowboys tomorrow, but let's also fill you in on what's happening today. It's kind of a light news day in the NFL, but there's one guy I guess, have to talk about at this point. And people have been talking about it for weeks, and I'm not sure if it even matters for fantasy. But we'll get to that in a second. We're here to answer your start sit questions, your trade questions, wherever our questions, your whatever questions you have. You want us to rate your team, let you know how you might do heading into the playoffs. You got a chance. Look, whatever you got, we're here for it. We'll help you out. And, we'll do as many questions and comments as we possibly can in the time that we're here, which is quite a while. We'll definitely do the super chats. Everyone who super chats, guarantee we will put your question up on the screen and answer it. And everyone else will do the best we can. But I know, and I say this because one of the very first, in fact, the first actual question we have is about Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Like, do we really need to talk about Aaron Rodgers just because the media is talking about Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, that's probably why we need to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Plus, you know how it is. Like, everybody's looking for that I don't know, league winner, I guess, for lack of a better term. Not that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a league winner. Not that Aaron Rodgers is probably going to score any fantasy points this year. Because did he score any points in that first game? I don't even know. Did he complete a pass?
No, remember, that was the funny thing. The very first underdog special was he just needs 1 yard, and he did not get 1 yard. Like, that was, oh man,
brutal. That's right. Okay, so yeah, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is scoring any fantasy points this year. Look, maybe if the Jets were in the playoff hunt, maybe he could be back by like week 16 or 17. But even then, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's going to have almost no mobility behind a terrible offensive line. Like, I really think this is just the Jets and Aaron Rodgers being the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. Just like, look at us, right? Like, you know what I mean? They were like that all off season. It's like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're holding out hope that if somehow, some way, Tim Boyle can lead them to the playoffs from 4-7 to the playoffs, at least the window is there, right? They could activate them by week 16 if they need to, but yeah, I really, really doubt we see Aaron Rodgers this year. And even if we do, let's just say, for the sake of argument, week 16, you're in the semifinals of your playoffs. Aaron Rodgers is activated against the Eagles, by the way. They're playing the Eagles that week. Are you starting Aaron Rodgers in your playoff semifinal?
Exactly. Like, honestly, why does this matter for fantasy? Like, for real life, oh, sure. Of course you need to talk about it. And if you're a Jets fan, yeah, of course. Well, look, let's start with this. First of all, he's not going to play. Because already it's easy to say, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then as soon as he was pressed, was it yesterday, 2 days ago, he's like, well, it really depends. I mean, on all the situation. Oh, okay, yeah. Now all of a sudden it depends because the Jets, they're not making the playoffs. I mean, come on.
No.
And then what does he possibly have to gain other than being able to say, like, point to everyone and say, "I told you so," which is really the play here for him. He just wants to be able to be smarter than everybody else,
right?
And so he'll go out there and do whatever he does. But here's the other thing, and I've been saying this also quite a bit. So last year, he was in Green Bay still, offense he's familiar with, same everything, that pretty much that they have now. He, for fantasy and points per game, was the QB 26.
Yeah.
26. Okay. In points per game, believe it or not, he was lower than Deshaun Watson and Sam Darnold. I'm not making this up. I'm looking at it right now. This was last year. All right. The fact that he was actually able to play 17 games because he was healthy last year meant that he was able to, in total points, finish as a QB 13 behind some guys like Daniel Jones, who played 16 games, and Justin Fields, who played 15 games, and Jared Goff and guys like that. Okay, so even if Aaron Rodgers comes back and plays, why would you possibly expect him to be startable in a single QB league? Like, why? 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 Honestly, like, would you have expected this if he never got hurt ever in the first place? Would you have expected Aaron Rodgers to be a starting quarterback for fantasy this season?
I mean, maybe like in the Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson, that kind of range, right? Like, hey, I lost, I lost Joe Burrow, I lost Anthony Richardson, I lost whoever, and now I'm just like streaming these guys. Yeah, I think he'd be like
Right,
that in
streamable.
good matchups, but that's about it. It wasn't like I was not drafting Aaron Rodgers in one QB leagues. No, no.
No. So again, I get this. If it's because it's Aaron Rodgers, but also really mainly because it's New York. Like the New York media has to have a story. It has to be something, right? Whether they're winning or losing, the Jets will always be in the news. Doesn't really matter. Everything's overinflated. So for fantasy guys, let's really honestly just not give this too much attention. Let's
Bad.
Okay. I was like, and then like I don't want to pick on. We'll talk about Underdog in a second, but first,
Right.
usually this is where we transition. We tell you about Underdog, which not sure if anybody's familiar with Underdog, but anyways, I actually want to put this is our very first question, and again, Marcus, appreciate you. You're always on here, always one of the first, but have to pull this up first. So when you're asking, like, okay, pick up Rodgers or roll with Love and Kyler rest of the season.
I'm rolling with those guys rest of the season. I mean, again, look, even if he plays, he's not going to be mobile. Like, what is the offense going to be? It's going to be him in shotgun because he can't take the ball under center. Like, that's way too risky. It's going to be in shotgun. Maybe he takes one step back and it's just like quick screens to Garrett Wilson, quick slants to Garrett Wilson. Like, they're not going to, which, look, that might be better than Tim Boyle. That still might be better than Tim Boyle if you're the Jets. If you're the Jets, it might be better than Tim Boyle. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's like, yeah. And even last year, like you said, he wasn't even good for fantasy last year. He hasn't really been great for fantasy in a couple years. Like, yeah, nah. Definitely not.
So again, with all due respect, Marcus, like even if Aaron Rodgers had never got hurt in the first place and had zero questions, if his injury, his Achilles, his legs, everything were 200% healthier, he had like a bionic leg installed and it would never get injured for the rest of his career, and he would somehow now be stronger than ever, I still would not put him over Kyler Murray because he was not better than Kyler Murray, didn't have Kyler Murray upside in fantasy ever to begin with in this offense. Let's remember, why did he get hurt in the first place? Because this Jets offensive line is not good, right? He was getting pressured from the very first series, the very first game of the very first week. So I'm going with, I don't care who over Rodgers, but especially you got Kyler and Love, you're fine. So don't think even twice or once about Aaron Rodgers. All right. But we will talk about some other quarterbacks. This is a perfect segue because Python saying what's up. He wants to know the 3 highest QB passing projections this week. We talked about this a couple days ago. We were going over the underdog picks. Python is big on underdog, so we'll get to that. But I think we first need to remind everybody that if they haven't signed up for underdog, this is a good time to do so. So here it is, shameless plug. Underdog. If you haven't tried it, you know what we're talking about here. If you use promo code ENDGAME, that's the important part, sign up for the very first time and you get 100% deposit match. It means every dollar you put in up to $100, you get matched in your account. So you double your entry just for being a customer. All right. So you double your account and then you get a free pick'em. And this week it's Dak Prescott, just getting 1 yard. You go higher and then you combine it with another pick. And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a quarterback. It doesn't have to be Thursday night. It could be anything. They have all sorts of options. NFL, also NBA. That's something I probably have to do a little bit more of, right? I haven't been into NBA as much because we're so busy with this. But if you follow NBA too, all sorts of picks, even more, I think, than they have for football too. Each player, NHL, WNBA, esports. That's right. Everything you could possibly imagine. So you can do all sorts of pick'ems. That one's a freebie though. If you sign up for the very first time for Underdog, take Dak Prescott higher than half a total yard, and you probably win that one. If you picked Aaron Rodgers week 1, you didn't, because he did not even get a yard in week 1. Let me just remind you of that. All right. I don't know. It's now it's just the petty Dolphins fan in me coming out and lashing out the Jets. Yeah, all right. Now he wants to know top 3 passing QB projections. I'm guessing we're talking just fantasy points. I'm guessing that's what you mean. So, and then all right, let's do our top 3. I'm gonna have to go with Tua. I think you can agree with me. That's not unreasonable, right? Tua in the top 3.
Tua's got to be one of them this week for sure.
All right, because the Commanders again give up more fantasy points to the quarterback than any other team. Like he's in the biggest smash spot there is.
Yes,
but that also matters that he's in a good offense because Mac Jones is in a great spot this week, and it doesn't matter. I'm not going to pick Jalen Hurts. Are you with me on that?
No, I mean, are we going? Wait, when we say highest QB projections, are we going like just the highest scoring fantasy QBs, or are we talking about like passing yards?
I'm looking at it as fantasy, just total points.
Well, I gotta pick Jalen Hurts at home against the Niners because I just think this is going to be a high scoring shootout type of game. I know it's a 49ers defense, but he's going to get 2 tush pushes or brotherly shoves. He'll probably run for 50, 60 yards. And he'll probably still throw for 2 something and another touchdown. So I think in this matchup, I still like Jalen Hurts. I'm still going to go with Jalen Hurts.
I mean, again, don't get me wrong. I like Jalen Hurts, and I have him for probably top 5 or 6, but I'm just not thinking it's one of his best games this week. All right. So I'm going to throw Dak Prescott in there just because, I mean, what has he been the last month? Basically a top 3 quarterback every week, and they're at home, aren't they?
Yeah, I think Dak would be my number 3. Yeah, they're at home against Seattle. Yeah. For me, it would be Tua, Hurts, and Dak would be my top 3.
All right, so I'm going to go Tua, Dak, and I think I'm just going to go with, I know they haven't been as good lately, but CJ Stroud. Hard to count him out at home. I know Denver's been better lately, but I'm not scared. I'm going to go Stroud. But there you go. All right, another wise word from Python. Yes, you do get unofficially karma points every time you hit thumbs up. I don't know. All right, let's get Samuel for Super Chat here. Need 2 running backs, Moss, Swift, Mixon, Najee, and Achane.
Man, I think you probably got to go Moss and Swift. I do really like Najee and that Steelers running attack this week, though. I mean, it's Arizona. Yeah. Like,
well,
they could both go off.
I don't think so, but maybe we can flex them out. But yeah, like it can't be Mixon, and I don't think you need to risk Achane.
No, I guess Moss and Swift. Bless you. Got to play CeeDee Lamb. That's a must.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean,
guess Nico. I don't love Nico this week, but I mean, how can you like Garrett Wilson with Tim Boyle? Cooper Kupp against the Browns. Who knows? Geez. Sutton's okay. But I'm probably going CeeDee and Nico. And then you know what? I probably will flex Najee, honestly. It's the Cardinals. Royce Freeman just had 77 yards and a touchdown. You know, everybody's losing their mind for Kyron Williams, but Royce Freeman had a fantastic rushing day on very few touches.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Royce Freeman was the number 8 rusher this week. Royce Freeman, I think, was the number 8 rusher this week. That's how bad this Cardinals defense is.
And how good the Cleveland defense is with the injuries and with everything. I know Kupp is just, it's too risky. It's just, you can't do it. And then Garrett Wilson, no thanks. So I agree, Moss and Swift. I agree, CD and Nico. And then flex, it's between Najee and Sutton. I could see either one. In PPR, don't blame me if you go Sutton. I don't feel like he's got like a super high ceiling, but he just continues to score. But I think Najee should have a smash week. So Najee probably makes more sense for the upside. And then I'm just putting this up, not for my own sake, but I just want to give Julio a shout out because he's one of our guys. Cheers to you, Julio. Thank you for everyone for the shout outs. Appreciate it. No place I'd rather spend my birthday evening than was on here. And we'll do it again post celebration live stream. A Zerby, Reed or Deontay?
I feel like we got this question a lot. I'm gonna have to put. I think I'm about to put Jaden Reed on one of the start sit thumbnails this week. Yeah, I don't know. Like Deontay Johnson did get 8 targets last week, and it is the Cardinals. I mean, and I really don't think Pat Freiermuth is getting 11 targets this week. So we could see Deontay Johnson get more like 10-ish targets. It's the Cardinals. I think I still got to go Deontay Johnson. It's not a great spot for Reed against the Chiefs. Deontay, it's the Cardinals. Like you just got to get players against the Cardinals unless they're, I guess, Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. Then you don't have to. But everybody else you gotta get in your lineup against the Cardinals.
Yeah, don't
I'm gonna
remind
go
me.
Deontay.
Wow, that was brutal. Actually, I want to ask you something though, because I was curious when I saw this, and I figured this is the best time to ask you about it, so everyone else hears. Because I agree. Look, Jaden Reed, the Chiefs have been a top 10 defense against fantasy receivers. Like we know this. They have good corners. They've got a pass rush, Chris Jones. But we look at that new-ish zone and versus man coverage matchup data from Fantasy Points, which has got a ton of great stuff. I noticed that they have Jordan Love with a really high rating, expected fantasy points per dropback this week, but then also the receivers they have pretty high too. Jaden Reed, this is among all receivers this week in terms of expected fantasy points, top 30, ahead of some guys that would surprise you, like Devontae Smith and Deontay Johnson. And so I was wondering, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think I do like that tool, and it said Calvin Ridley had a great spot last week, and he had a great game. So there's something to it. And look, maybe the Cardinals are just so bad against the run. It's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, don't start your wide receivers against the Cardinals because teams just run the ball relentlessly against them and don't really need to throw. But I don't know. It would be hard for me. I know Reed's been very good. I know he's been very good. But KC is a great defense, and the Cardinals aren't. I think I still got to go Deontay.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't make me think like, oh, well, now I got to start Jaden Reed or anything like that because I don't think it's a great matchup. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. But the matchup is clearly better for Deontay Johnson. The worry is that they just run the ball so effectively, they really don't need to pass it. But my gut would tell me if it's my team, I'm going to start Deontay anyways. Is KC going to show out? They're not the kind of defense that dominates or smothers. They're like good, but not amazing.
I will say I'm looking at the tool right now, and the best cover grades this week are Diami Brown and Cedric Wilson and Michael Gallup and Irv Smith. So
right.
Take it for always. Yeah, there's really not a lot of good spots here.
Yeah, and again, this is based on expected fantasy points, which of course doesn't always equal real fantasy points, but also per route run. Well, if you're Diami Brown and you only run 5 routes, then okay, you got 2 points because he just isn't used that much. It's for the guys who are like clear. But then how does Drake London, the number 1 clear receiver here, when he gets Sauce Gardner? That I don't get. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they look at certain things. They don't just look at like who's going to cover them. They look at like what kind of shells they use,
Right.
zone, how
Yeah.
often they play zone versus man, and like, okay, so maybe they look at it and say like, hey, and again, you got to understand that like anything, you're looking back and then trying to project forward. There might be some weeks where like the Jets, like if they play the Bills, maybe Sauce Gardner, shadows Stephon Diggs the whole game. But there might be other weeks where they play a team and they're not scared of their number one wide receiver, and maybe he doesn't shadow him the whole game. Maybe he doesn't always cover him, right? Maybe they play more zone that week because it's like, whatever. It's the Falcons and Drake London. You know what I mean? So, like, they don't always run the same defense. It's not like they just run the same defense week after week, matchup for matchup.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's these tools are helpful for sure, but they're, you also have to try to project like how the game's going to go. How
Yes.
are they going to
Exactly.
match up? Like maybe Sauce doesn't shadow Drake London because maybe the Jets play more zone this week and figure, hey, we don't need to like have Sauce. We can, use Sauce in different ways this week because we're not scared of like Drake London the way we are Stephon Diggs or something like that.
Right. And like you said, what really winds up mattering most is game script and how it goes. If a team falls behind early because somebody happened to fumble and gets returned for a touchdown, all of a sudden that team's down by a touchdown early. That wasn't expected. That's not because of anything that happened to offense or defense. It just happened. A special team, return for a touchdown, and all of a sudden down 2 scores early. You have to pass the ball instead of running. This is where the predictions go out the window. So, anyways, all that said, Deontay Johnson. Senior Royland, speaking of KC, what's up? Lost JT. Yeah, I know. Okay, so Sharber Moss.
It's got to be Moss, especially if you lost JT. Now, I will say, I feel a little bit better today because one of the few Twitter doctors that I actually trust because he was an actual NFL doctor, team doctor for I think like 15 or 20 years. So he actually understands the injuries and as how they relate to the players. He said it's a I think UCL, ULC, I don't know, whatever, something like that. I'm not the doctor. And he thinks Jonathan Taylor can be back ready to go week 15 for the fantasy playoffs. So
Well,
that's
it's
good news.
probably the UCL. That's a more common like baseball injury, especially for pitchers. For pitchers, it's bad. If it's you're throwing them,
I
sometimes
think
if you
there's
hear
like
UCL,
UCL in your elbow, and I think that's what the pitchers get, and that's what this is thumb. There's like a UCL in your thumb too, I
it's a
guess.
different thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the thumb. It's the thumb. But
Okay.
he thinks he'll be ready to go week 15. So there is good news there. But look, you want Zach Moss in the meantime, so grab Zach Moss.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Moss. I'm like pretty much saying no to Charbonnet this week because even though he's
No,
getting touches, just brutal matchup. All right,
he's got
Dan,
us.
remember Dan Fuller had brought up
Yes.
this trade or a trade idea to us. I think it was yesterday. Lost JT. So he traded Chase and Laporta for Saquon, Nico, and Kincaid.
You had to have won this. I mean,
Yeah.
gotta at least feel Saquon and Chase are even, but I probably prefer Saquon. You got Nico thrown in. Kincaid, Laporta, they feel pretty close to me. So you didn't even like really take a hit at tight end. You went from Laporta to Kincaid. That's fine. And you got Saquon and Nico for Chase. Yeah, you won this for sure. For sure.
I mean, unless this is like a keeper or a dynasty league, you won. You won this trade. Surprised someone just threw Nico in there.
Right?
Yeah. Well done. Look, Saquon does not have the greatest schedule down the stretch for the fantasy playoffs, but still, you need a running back. You got Saquon. I think you should be happy. All right. And then let's get to, let me make sure. Did I do this one? Yeah, we did that one. Okay. Bird Talk 93. Pick 2 Downs, Puka, McLaurin, Hollywood, Watson.
Oh, man.
Now, the coverage matrix that I referred to earlier did actually validated confirmation bias, one of my picks that I like this week. So you probably figure out who that is.
Yeah, this is.
but they're close.
Am I crazy to say Hollywood and Downs? Like I'm benching Puka and
Well,
Terry?
if you're crazy, then I'm crazy too, because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think I'm going Hollywood and Downs. Like we're at that point of the year where you can't look at names anymore.
No.
Because you think you see this list and you think, oh, you got to start Puka and McLaurin, right? You think, oh, you got to just start Puka and McLaurin. But we're at that point where you don't have to like. I don't care that it says the name on the jersey says Cooper Cup, because the name on my fantasy app says 5 points. So you know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going Hollywood and Downs. They're the guys I like the most. I think if you want to play it a little safer, you can go Hollywood and Terry, because Terry should at least have a good game. I mean, they should have to throw a lot, but he could see a lot of Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. So, but I'm going Hollywood and Downs.
And it's funny you said those because when I looked at this, the pretty much the first two I eliminated. It's like, no, I don't want to start them. Was Puka and McLaurin? It's like
Yeah, right.
those Puka again. What has he done lately? But also the worst matchup possible. And McLaurin hasn't been doing it. I know the matchup on paper looks good, but it's actually not great for him. I mean, it's great for De'Ami Brown apparently, but also it's better for like a guy like Curtis Samuel. And I don't know. I'm not feeling McLaurin. I could consider Watson as an upside flyer, but I don't like the matchup as much for down as for down. So I'm going Hollywood Downs. And then this is a good transition to Rahul is asking, am I wrong to be panicking about Tua, Cup, Thielen, and Eckler?
You're wrong to be panicking about Tua. You're right to be panicking about Cup and Thielen, and you're wrong to be panicking about Eckler. I mean, I'm gonna do. There's a video coming out tomorrow. We did this last year too. It's basically like the best running back playoff schedules. Austin Eckler has one of the best playoff schedules. It's Buffalo, Raiders, Denver. Like, I don't care if he's lost a step. He's gonna catch 5 passes. He's gonna get chances to score. He's gonna be great in the fantasy playoffs. Not worried about it. Cup and Thielen, I'm definitely worried about. I'm definitely worried about those guys.
Yeah, because those two guys are truly volume dependent. Now, of course, Eckler, you could say he is too, as most running backs are, um, but he gets the volume guaranteed no matter what. He's going to get, if not the carries, the targets, and all the goal line work. Thielen, I just don't know. He might not be startable in the fantasy playoffs. We'll see. Cup, he's got to prove he's healthy. So, exactly. Tua and Eckler, fine. Cup and Thielen, yeah, would worry a little bit. All right. So, Juice, just saying that if Rodgers does come back, we'll get to see him re-injure himself. That's a very good possibility.
Yeah, I
What
don't. I
about?
don't think. I mean, how could he? I don't even
Um,
know if could he even really re-injure himself that badly, unless like ACL or something.
yeah, he could just. I don't think we'll see it, so no matter. He's saying he picked up Perry because Demario Douglas did go into concussion protocol. Remember, they said he avoided a concussion. Well, maybe not. Yeah, Perry. I mean, I don't want to start Perry, but
No, stash him maybe. But look, it sounded like Olave might play this week. He practiced today, so maybe we dodge that bullet.
well, part of me kind of hopes he doesn't, so we can see the full Taysom. But the full Taysom experience. Now that I'm all in on him, but all right, other John, half PPR needs two: Monty Gibbs, Ford, and Connor. Go double line.
I think you got to go the Lion stack here. I think you got to go the Lion stack. Can't feel good about Ford. Connor could be okay this week, right? It's the Steelers. They're not a good run defense. It's a revenge game for him. But I think you got to go the Lions running backs. They've got the most upside.
Yeah, I think I was a little overly optimistic about Arizona's offense the last 2 weeks. Uh, I'm in on Hollywood this week, but Connor, it's not a great spot for him or Kyler. So they're startable, but I would just go double line too. Sammy, Amari, Noah, or London.
Have we even? Is Noah Brown even back at practice yet? Has he even practiced yet?
Not that I've
Do we
heard.
know? Okay, it did say he's back practicing today, so he is back at practice today. But do I really want to start him? Do I really want to start London against Sauce though? I can't. You can't start Amari Cooper. You
No,
cannot
no,
start Amari Cooper.
that's an easy no. I mean,
Although it
look,
does sound like
Noah
it might be
Brown.
Joe Flacco, but even still, are we starting Amari Cooper with Joe Flacco? Like, are we? No.
Noah Brown, even if he plays, look interesting as a streamer, especially this week, but he's one of 3 guys who will be sharing targets, and London is still the number 1 guy. I think I got to go
Yeah.
London with Noah.
Yeah, you probably got to go London.
Connor or Njoku?
Got to go Connor. You got to go Connor. I mean, Njoku should be good for a tight end, but he's just a tight end. Like, he's good. He's good for a tight end because he's giving you like 11, 12 PPR points, which, hey, that tight end, you'll take that every day of the week, right? You'll give me my 11 or 12 points and let's get out of here. But that's not really, you want somebody with a little more upside in your flex, and Connor can at least score. So give me Connor.
Yeah, agree. Vinny, fellas. Oh, thank you very much. All right. Needs a quarterback, Gino or Stafford?
Oh, gosh.
I'm pretty sure this is also the first time we've seen the phrase "got outbid on Pickett." Which, look, I get it. We told you. We probably told you to pick up Pickett. So
somebody actually bid on Pickett, and they bid more than wow.
And I think also, if I remember, Vinny's a 16-team league. Isn't that right? Was it 14 or 16? It's deep.
I'll go Stafford because at least they're at home. Gino on the road in Dallas. No, thank you. I'll go Stafford. At least they're at home. I expect both these guys to be bad, to be honest, but at least Stafford's at home.
At least he's at home, and at least he has Kyron Williams back, and he maybe has Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Gino's got good receivers too, but has not been doing as well. So yeah, I guess Stafford. Wilson, 1 receiver. Wilson, Puka, Thielen, and a flex. So we need 2 of these guys?
Oh, I mean, I think you still got to somewhat like Thielen this week. It's another great matchup. I mean, I know it was a great matchup last week, and the guy got, 2 targets or 3 targets the whole game or something in 1 catch, but
yeah,
I think you still got to like him. And then I probably still got to go Puka over Wilson. Kupp is less than 100%. He's at least got Matthew Stafford throwing to him, not Tim Boyle. So I'm going to go Thielen and Puka.
All right. Well, I'll say this. Thielen probably first. I think if Kupp is out, which again, not sure, who knows, I would go Puka. If not, I might lean Wilson again, just because I'm looking to target share. We know Garrett Wilson is still the first, second, and third option there, and Puka won't be. So that's my reluctant argument, I guess, for Garrett Wilson. What about this? Let's see how low. How low can you go? It's not that low. JJ Russo. Would you go Josh Downs over Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, pretty easily, honestly. It's a great matchup. 13 targets last week. I mean, how can you do it with Cooper Kupp at this point? Let me see it. Let me see Cooper Kupp. I don't need to see vintage Cooper Kupp, right? I don't need to see 10 catches for 125 yards. I just need to see a guy who looks close to healthy. Just let me see a guy who looks close to healthy and let me see something. I mean, it's been bad. It's been bad for weeks. It's not like it's just been bad. Like it was just bad last week. No, it's been bad for weeks.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I'd be happy with like 5 catches for Kupp. Oh, he's still there. I'm going
at least then he's playable.
Yeah, exactly. But also look at Downs, Tennessee. It's a pretty good matchup for him.
Yep.
This just want to give a shout out to Just Flow, who somehow got both Zach Moss and then Pat Fryermuth with a number 6 waiver spot.
Nice.
I mean, That's good. You guys are on your league are sleeping, I guess. Carlos D369 must win. Kyler or Love?
I think I got to go Kyler. I know Love had a big game last week, but man, it's the Chiefs. I don't know. Kyler runs. It's the Steelers. It doesn't really scare me. I think I got to go Kyler over Love.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like you said, this is close because I don't like the matchup for either one. I think this could be really close, but the tipping point here is Kyler runs. He could run in a touchdown. He could run for a lot of yardage. So I would have to go Kyler. And then Stevenson, Hall, Hubbard for RB2.
No, it has to be Stevenson.
Yeah.
He's in a great spot this week. He's been great. Got to go Stevenson.
Yeah. The one thing that is going right for the Patriots is that Ramondre finally looks like Ramondre. He's been better throughout as the season goes on. He's getting better. So he's finally what you hoped for when you drafted him in fantasy. Lockett, Dobbs, Cooper, Curtis Samuel.
Just give me Lockett. I hope he hits a big play, scores a touchdown, gets targets. I mean, these other guys, Dobbs, Cooper's, you can't. Dobbs, it's touchdown or like you get very little. Curtis Samuel, he's okay. I don't hate Curtis Samuel this week. I kind of like him a little bit, but I'm going Lockett here.
Yeah, like if you want to go for the sneaky start that might pay off, Curtis Samuel, but also could get you nothing. I think you stick what Lockett gives you. And then at the flex, who for flex? Okay, and he also says Douglas and Watson on waivers.
Yeah, I think you still got to go Brees at flex. But I would probably drop Curtis Samuel for Watson if you're not going to play Curtis Samuel this week. Because Watson has way more potential upside, and they do have a good rest of the season schedule after this week. So if Watson goes out there again this week and looks pretty good, like he might be a guy you're plugging into your lineup every single week. Are you really ever going to plug Samuel in you're only going to plug Samuel in when you have to. So I would drop, you know what? You could drop Dobbs. Drop Dobbs for Watson, honestly.
I wonder, would you drop Dobbs and Samuel for Douglas and Watson, or you'd rather have Samuel than Douglas?
I mean, you can
not
do
a big
that.
difference.
You can do that too. I mean, look, it sounds like we're getting Bailey Zappi this week, so I don't even know what to expect. Yeah.
Did you say Bailey Zappi?
Sorry, I made you choke on your bang there.
I didn't want to spit take on my camera. Yeah. Well, Douglas is the wide receiver one there. Yeah. Yeah, you can drop Dobbs.
How brutal is it? We have teams that are like, our options are Tim Boyle or Zach Wilson. Our options are Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. Our options are Joe Flacco or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Our options are Josh Dobbs or Nick Mullins. Like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Right? Like Jake Browning or AJ McCarron. Those are like, oh, what is going on this year? Brutal.
Why don't they just give Malik Cunningham a chance? Just see what he can do.
Right?
At least he can run and, not throw 5 interceptions. I mean, he could throw 5 interceptions, but do something different. I don't know. Okay.
Exactly. He can't be worse than Bailey Zappi. It looks like that dude's throwing a cannonball every time he throws it. Like it weighs a ton. Like the football weighs a ton.
Yeah. What's up, Spearsy? How we doing? Taysom or Muth?
I don't know. I don't think I could do it with Taysom. I'm still going Muth.
Well, I'm fine going Muth here because he is in a good spot against Arizona. And also, if Olave is going to play, that does let some of the air out of the tires here for the big Taysom explosion. But I'm fine with Muth. I think he's solid still. Also have Nico as my wide receiver 2. Do you like any of these guys? These guys are on waivers. Downs is on waivers. Okay, Mingo, no. Christian Watson, Noah Brown, JSN, or A.T. Perry.
I mean, I'd certainly want to pick some of these guys up, but I don't know if I'm playing them over Nico.
No.
So, like, I'm not dropping Nico to get these guys, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah,
but,
I mean
I definitely want to pick up Downs. I probably want to pick up Watson.
Right. But not, I mean, I wouldn't play them over Nico and definitely don't drop. I don't know who else you have. So you could pick them up. I don't know. If you're playing Muth, you drop Taysom.
Yeah, you could probably drop Taysom.
And if you're not starting him, then you don't have to hold him. So yes, no, go with Nico though. All right, and then we got Docs. Can I win it all in a half man 12 team PPR, half PPR? I'm sorry. What did I say? Half man, half PPR, 12 man, 7-5. All right, well, let's make the playoffs first. Herbert, Waddle, Ridley, Bijan, Kyron, Kincaid, Flex, Mostert, and a bunch of handcuffs on the bench.
I mean, you certainly can. You got two strong receivers. You got two strong running backs. You got Herbert. You got Kincaid. You got Mostert. Is G. Will startable with A-Rod? I don't know if Aaron Rodgers, if he somehow plays, would even change my opinion of Garrett Wilson. So yeah, I certainly think you can win it all. This doesn't jump out as like, oh yeah, you're a lock, but I certainly think you can.
Yeah, you have the type of team that could have a league high point total, but not consistently, not every week, which is why you're 7-5. The thing is, you don't have one of those clear wide receiver one week in week out. You don't have a CeeDee Lamb. You don't have a Stephon Diggs. You don't have one of those guys, AJ Brown, who's leading the way. Ridley is going to be boomer bust. Waddle's kind of boomer bust. So that's the only thing. If they both boom, then you probably win. If they don't, then you don't. So my concern also would be the Dolphins' schedule during the fantasy playoffs is not great, and you got Waddle and Mostert with Achane coming back. So you have a chance, though. You have a chance. Anthony Cervantes, start one. G. Willie, Ford, Singletary, Hollywood, or Higgins.
I think it's got to be Hollywood. Assuming PPR, I might go Hollywood anyways, honestly. Like Garrett Wilson, okay, what's the upside? A garbage touchdown like last week. And even then, what does he get you? Like 16, 17 PPR points, which like that's not bad. But I mean, Hollywood got you 14 last week without a touchdown. Singletary, it is a good matchup, but you got to think Pierce is going to be more involved. Ford, Higgins can't do it. I'm going Hollywood.
Yep, I like Hollywood this week. Higgins is don't care if he plays or not kind of guy.
Right.
I think Singletary is fine, but assuming this is PPR, I would go Hollywood. He's a guy I'm gonna like this week. And then Vinny back with another 9-3, half PPR, needs a quarterback. Howell or Stroud?
Stroud. Going Stroud for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be Stroud. And then one receiver, Del Puka Wilson.
Going Dell. Definitely going Dell.
Dell. Two running backs, Pollard, Gibbs, Connor, Ramondre. And well, it sounds like he has Moss too. He says did pick up Moss.
I think Ramondre has to be one. Am I going Moss over Pollard and Gibbs though? I don't know.
Yeah, I like Ramondre. Pollard is not a smash spot like it was the last 2 weeks, but still a pretty good spot, right? Seattle don't feel like they're going to be. Gibbs, I think I'm
going. I think if it's me, I'm going Ramondre and Pollard.
Yeah,
at home against Seattle, he should be able to score a touchdown again. He should be pretty good. I'm going Ramondre and Pollard.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning to, and a flex now.
Well, then maybe we flex Moss. Maybe I flex Moss.
Yeah, because I don't think either of those receivers are. And it's half PPR, so yeah, I would definitely flex a running back. Oh, all right, there you go. Let's flex Moss. All right, Phil Ciortino, Njoku or Goddard if he plays.
Njoku. Yeah, I mean, it's a good matchup for Njoku. He's been getting a ton of targets. Goddard coming back from injury, and then the 49ers and Fred Warner. Yeah, let me see Goddard first game back from injury in a brutal spot. I'll just go Njoku here.
Yeah. It's, we say, well, risky coming back from injury. In this case, it's not just, injury risk because his injury is a little bit different, but also it's not like he was destroying fantasy all season. He was on a roll. He was doing well. But man, 49ers against tight ends, no, it's just not a good spot for him anyways. What about Graham McLaren in an 8-team PPR league? We need a flex. Brees, Jaden Reed, or go downs. Double downs on Colts.
Like, it feels like you're supposed to say Brees. But again, like at this point, what do you need to somehow the one touchdown the Jets are going to score this week, you somehow need it to be Brees. If they even score a touchdown, or you need him to rip off a long, like 50, 60-yard run or 50, 60-yard catch or something like that.
It's like you said, we have to just look at the numbers, not the names at this point.
Yeah.
Like you look at this, you're like, well, Brees Hall, but
I might go Downs. I really might go Downs. I like Downs a lot this week. It's the Titans. 13 targets last week. It's just Minshew only. It's like Pittman, Downs, Pittman. That's it. That's all he throws to. Just back and forth. Those guys the whole game. I think I'm going Downs.
And because he's kind of asking concerned, like you're okay going double. He said double up, but really should have been double downs. Double down with the Colts, 2 Colts receivers.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I know it's never fun having like 2 receivers from the same team in there, but I mean, if they're both going to be good, they're both going to be good. Like, hey, you would have loved to have Tank and Nico last week in your lineup. Both those guys in your lineup, you would have been just fine with that.
Sure. Yeah, I'm okay with it. We kind of addressed this yesterday. I don't remember if it was the same 2 receivers. I think it was Downs and Pittman. Just like, who cares what team they're on? Who cares what their name is? Who do you think is going to score more points? Pick that guy.
Right.
I don't really want to put this up, but I'm going to anyways, even though it's not even a super chat. I think this is super interesting because how often do we get questions about guillotine leagues? But I don't even know if I want to try to answer this. G-Man 89, Dak or Tua?
Oh, man.
We listed our top 3 projected quarterbacks this week. We both had Dak and Tua in the top 3. So
I think I got to go Tua, though. It's the Commanders. They have been so bad to quarterbacks. I mean, we've seen big quarterback games from Desmond Ridder, Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
I think I got to go. I think Tua and Tyreek Hill can go absolute scorched earth this weekend. So I got to go Tua.
Yeah. And every week, that's why I love the 18 leagues, because every week is a must win. I mean, literally, you have to win. If you come in last, you're gone. But it's funny because people think, well, you got to go floor then. You got to play it safe. No, it's the opposite. You need the guy who's going to give you that high point total, because even if 4 of your guys come out, trust me, I've been in these leagues before, and you could have 4 guys get you 0, and it doesn't matter. If you have one guy who went off, it'll carry you. It's the team that didn't have any upside that gets cut, didn't have any big games. So I mean, they'll both probably be fine. Like, it doesn't really matter, but I'll go Tua also. I think I said I had Tua as my number 1 quarterback, didn't I? Maybe.
Yesterday you did, yes. But you might have been like, you were in birthday mode, so.
That's what it was.
You're a little delirious.
My teal goggles on.
Yes.
All right. What about this? We'll do a couple of regular ones here. Javier Flores, Evan Ingram, or Trey McBride.
Ooh, close this week, but I would have a hard time benching Trey McBride, to be honest. I know there's some people like, is Zach Ertz coming back this week? Have I heard this? Like, is this a possibility? Although, you know what? Evan Ingram gets Cincinnati, huh? Oh, man. That's phenomenal. I might go Ingram. Cincinnati's so bad against tight ends, like just so bad. Like teams just like we saw with Freiermuth last week, right? It is almost like a tight end funnel. Like teams just keep throwing to the tight end. Like the tight end just hey, I'm right here. I'm all alone. No one's covering me. Throw me the ball. It's crazy. I might have to go Ingram this week. And they've been trying to get him a touchdown.
Yes, they have. I think maybe this is the week. We'll see. I don't know anything about Zach Ertz, but not assuming he'll play this week because I haven't heard that he is. I would say McBride, but I think because of the matchup, I'm gonna go for Ingram, and he's got a floor. I mean, he's been targeted steadily every week, so you'll hear more about that in one of our videos later. But let's go on to Trigger Trey. One flex, full PPR. Tank Dell in the flex if he plays, but if he doesn't, Moss or Stevenson.
I gotta still go Stevenson. It's another good spot for him. He's been great. He's catching passes. I know I like Moss. I certainly like Moss this week, but I mean, yeah, against the Chargers, I'm going Stevenson.
Yeah, I like Stevenson a lot this week. He's been solid, no concerns. Hopefully Tank plays, though. ASAP Cams. Start 2, Rice Cup, Charbonnet, McLaurin, Achane.
Rice and McLaurin, I guess. Rice and McLaurin. Wow. That's where I'm at, though. I'm starting Rice and McLaurin again. Let me just see Cup look healthy before I put him back in my lineup. Rice and Terry. Terry should at least be okay this week. It's not like Terry's been killing you. He at least has a floor, and they should have to throw a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm going Rice and Terry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll get nothing, but yeah, sadly, Rice is the one I think I feel best about out of this group. And it's the same thing with Achane. Let's see him healthy first, too. Let's see him actually get touches and play. So, sadly, you're sitting probably Cup and Achane. Rice and Terry it is. Edgar Padilla. In standard, pick one. Rice, Chuba, Pickens, Reed, Charbonnet, Watson.
Oh, man. This is tough. This one's tough.
Yeah.
If it's PPR, I'd probably easily say Rice.
Who's your other consideration then? Is it Watson?
I think you can consider Watson. I think you can consider Reed. I think you can even consider Charbonnet because he's gonna get the touches. He had yardage last week, right? Like he had, let me see. He had 47 rushing yards and well, he only had 11 receiving yards. He only had 58 yards, so maybe I don't have to consider. It's just hard not to instantly pick the running back in standard, but even Pickens, like because Pickens can always have a huge touchdown. But I think I'm going Rice here again. He's been scoring. He's not volume dependent, right? He's not a guy that needs like 8 catches. Like he can have 4 or 5 catches and get you 70, 80 yards and a touchdown. It's a good matchup for him this week against Packers. I think I'll go Rice again. This one's real. There's a lot of good options here, though.
Yeah, these are close. Now, Reed is sort of interesting in this format because they've been giving him carries out of the backfield. He gets a little bit of combo rushing and receiving yards, and he's been getting some touchdowns. But I think I would prefer Watson because he gets end zone targets, so many end zone targets. And of course, his upside is bigger. But I would still go Rice because he's the number one guy there and probably a little bit better matchup. Speaking of Charbonnet, I think we can quickly address this. Rushman, Wants to know if Walker will play. Well, he's pretty much not playing. Isn't he doubtful?
Yeah, but you know what's frustrating? Like it's always frustrating when these guys aren't marked out. But the good news is they play tomorrow. But you know what's really frustrating? Jonathan Taylor just had surgery on his thumb. The whole world knows he's out this week. Why do the fantasy apps still list him as doubtful? Let me move Jonathan Taylor into my IR. We know
Right.
he's out.
Well, Kenneth
So
Walker just
frustrating.
pretty much out. Yeah. Colin Casey, Hall, Kyron, Eckler, Ramondre, Ford, 2 with Tank at flex.
It's got to be Eckler. I guess it's got to be Eckler and Kyron, right? I know it's a tough spot for Kyron.
Yeah.
I am completely ready for my 7-point Kyron game this week when he fails to find the end zone against the Browns. But you got to start him. Can you really bench Kyron? I don't think so. Eckler and Kyron.
Yeah, that's the thing. We look at the matchup, you want to say, well, Ramondre, but I'm not going to tell anybody sit Kyron Williams. There's no way, even in this matchup.
Right.
So Eckler, Kyron, it is. And look, I guess if Tank doesn't play because there's some doubt now, then you probably just flex Ramondre.
Yes.
And then could it be the coach, Marvin Lewis?
I think does he play fantasy?
He might. Is Rodgers worth a roster stash? No.
Maybe in like a deep 2 QB league. Maybe. That's it. And even that's a maybe.
Yeah. That would be the only way I consider him in a 2 QB non-dynasty league. What's up, Boomer? All right, so did an underdog draft. I'm not even waiting for Friday. I like it. Primetime game draft. He got T-Law, Lamb, Lockett, JSN, Sharps, Ferguson. What do you think about that?
I mean, you won last time, so
That's right. Couple of actually, what, 3
interesting the
Seahawks?
Lockett JSN stack with T-Law. Lockett JSN Charbonnet stack. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it works out.
See if it works. Maybe for the receivers. Charbonnet is the guy I'm most nervous about, but
Yeah.
like I said, look, you just need the guy who gives you that huge point total. You got CeeDee Lamb, so that's good. All right. What about Ranji? What is up? Should I flex Cooper Kupp or Trey McBride? Putting you to the test.
Oh,
the guy that you really don't want to start or flexing a tight end, which is against your moral principles.
It's not. I mean, look, flexing a tight end is okay, but I mean, how good has Kupp been since the last 4 games? 21 yards, 48 yards, 11 yards, 18 yards. Hasn't had more than 4 catches. I guess go McBride.
Do we legitimately know if Cooper Kupp's even going to play this week?
He was a full participant in practice today, so. But I mean, he's not healthy. He's not close to healthy.
Yeah, he played last week.
Go McBride, I guess. Go McBride.
He supposedly played last week. I was told he was on the field. Yeah, I'm going McBride. And yeah, so you're good. You're good everywhere else. So yeah, just go McBride. Alex Ayala. Is it rash to bench Godwin for either Rice or Cooks? My league has a cash prize for the most points scored. Needs to catch up. Is down by 40. No, I don't think it is. Godwin just hasn't been delivering.
Yeah, I wouldn't play Cooks. This isn't nearly as good of a spot as he had last week, but I would go Rice over Godwin, definitely. Godwin, yeah, the problem for Godwin is Mike Evans has been great, and Baker Mayfield just loves him some Mike Evans. So Godwin's just been okay. Rice can at least be okay, and he can also be very good. So I'm going Rice.
The other thing too is you look, well, Godwin's getting targets. He's not getting quality targets. He's getting those kind of dink and dunk, nothing in the end zone. Well, not enough in the end zone, at least compared to Mike Evans. Not enough deep balls. I would go Rice. Yeah. Anthony Morales got the W last week. Very nice. All right, let's do it again. So this week, 2 starts between Debo, Nico, and Ridley.
I think you got to start Debo this week. Nico and Ridley is close. I don't love Nico this week. I might just go. I don't really love Ridley either. Those corners on Cincy are pretty good, which is why tight ends destroy them. I think I'll go Ridley over Nico, especially if Noah Brown plays. That kind of hurts Nico a little bit. So I'm going to go Debo and Ridley.
Well, actually, I was going to ask you because I guess he's on the injury report, right? Tank Dell. What was the issue with him today?
Yeah, calf. Didn't practice today with a calf issue. I mean, look, if Tank Dell's out, that helps Nico again. But
yeah, I was going to say, what if Tank Dell doesn't play? Maybe Nico. But yeah, I definitely like Debo this week. I might just go Ridley because even though it's a tough matchup, he's been good. They've been using him different ways. If Tank is out, then I might go Nico. All right, and then here it is again: Taysom Hill or Trey McBride. Let's go with the actual tight end.
Yeah, I mean McBride should be good. Probably just go with him.
Yeah. Kathy Weigel, welcome back again. High-low photo and video. Getting Moss, but has to drop one.
I don't think so. I'm not dropping one of those guys.
So no, I wouldn't drop any of those guys. But look, asking QB for the season, Howell, Love, or Murray. If you have all 3 of those and it's not a super flex or 2 QB league, we can drop one of those, can't we?
Yeah, you can definitely. You could probably drop 2 of them. I mean, I'm fine just rolling with Kyler Murray rest of the season. He's been fine. It's not like he's been bad. And like after this week, Sam Howell's schedule gets brutal. Jordan Love's schedule does get really good, but I probably still prefer Murray to Love. But yeah, I really don't want to drop one of those running backs just to pick up Moss. Moss might only be around, it might be 2 weeks, and then JT is back.
Right. Yeah. So don't drop any of those running backs. But if you happen to already have all 3 of these quarterbacks, definitely drop Howell. Because you don't need him. You're not going to start him the rest of the season. So unless it's super flex or 2 QB. I don't think it is. Julio saying dropping Addison for Sutton, Deontay Hollywood, or Jacoby.
I'd probably go Hollywood, and I'm okay dropping Addison. I mean, he's on the bye. He hasn't been great with Josh Dobbs, Justin Jefferson coming back. It's actually sounding like we might see Nick Mullins after the bye. So the way Kevin O'Connell's talking. So yeah, give me Hollywood. Hollywood has a fantastic playoff schedule. Hopefully what we saw last week is just a precursor for what's to come. I'll drop Addison for Hollywood.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I would do that too. I would also drop, well, you know what? I might drop him for any of those first 3, but right now I'd prefer Hollywood. And then we got Cakes Mitchell. All right. Pick 2. Hollywood, Douglas, Downs, and Cooks.
Hollywood and Downs. I like those guys this week. Douglas, I mean, we don't even know if he's going to play, not to mention Bailey Zappi. Brandon Cooks, liked them last week, and not so much this week. I mean, he might be okay, but not nearly as good of a spot. So I'm going Hollywood and Downs.
Yeah, this one is pretty easily Hollywood and Downs for me too. Pedro Navarez, what's up, Pedro? Non-PPR, Warren or Deontay, or, and this is wide receiver 2, I guess Deontay or Wilson.
In non-PPR, definitely going Warren. I might even go Warren in PPR, honestly, because, again, this Arizona run defense is so bad. Deontay or Garrett Wilson, I assume, in non-PPR. I might
Yeah.
go Garrett Wilson in non-PPR. I don't know. I mean, wha- at least we know Wilson gets the targets. He could score like we saw last week, I guess. I might go Wilson over Deontay in non-PPR.
Yeah. Even in that offense, more touchdowns than Deontay Johnson. So more touchdown upside. I mean, realistically. So yeah, Warren for sure. And then probably just go Wilson, hope for a long touchdown. I think better chance for a touchdown or any kind of touchdown. JR Fuentes wants to know Fryermuth or Ferguson in half PPR.
This is close. I know it's hard not to just instantly say Fryermuth, but I have my worries about Fryermuth this week. It's half PPR. I think Ferguson certainly has a better chance to score against Seattle. I don't know, but you probably have to roll with Fryermuth still. I guess Fryermuth.
Very, very unenthusiastic pick there. Like, I mean,
I mean,
I know, like go do backflips over Fryermuth. But I think these days getting more steady target share than Ferguson, right? Ferguson, we've seen it
well, I
kind of
mean,
dip a little bit.
sure, a more steady target share if we only count last week. Yes.
Yeah, everything BC before Canada doesn't count, didn't exist.
Okay. I mean, let's not forget Jake Ferguson was good for like 3 weeks in a row, and then last week was just okay. Well, it wasn't really that good, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, look again. It was Cincinnati, like literally the Arizona of tight end defenses, right? Like
Yeah,
tight ends just play Cincinnati and just go off. Like let me look here. Like how bad tight ends or how good tight ends have been against Cincinnati. Like let's look at what some of these tight ends have done this year. Uh,
What's funny is you mentioned Arizona. That's who Fryermuth gets this week is Arizona. I know they're not as bad against tight ends, but they're just not
Yeah, they're
great.
actually not that bad against tight ends because, I mean, they're really not that bad against anything else but the run because teams just run all over them, right? They just run,
Right.
run, 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 run. But I don't know. I guess you'd probably have to play Fryermuth after last week, but I'm
Yeah.
ready for a letdown. I'm ready for a Fryermuth letdown.
And then again, I don't feel like you have to play Fryermuth, but over Ferguson, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. All right. Mac P. All right. On a 2-win streak. Not good enough. Let's make it 3. Full
Right.
PPR, 14 team, hurting from the buys. All right. Dylan or Charbonnet in the flex?
Just give me Charbonnet. He catches passes at least.
Yeah. It's full PPR. Look, Dylan has been so bad when given the chance. I'm not giving him the chance. Charbonnet, Tutu or Jalen Guyton?
Oh my gosh. I
I
mean,
mean, if we're worried about
Spider-Man
like,
meme, one catch. Maybe it happens to be a touchdown.
yeah, but look, if we're worried about like Cup and Puka in this matchup against Cleveland, I don't think we can feel good about Tutu.
No, I don't feel good about Guyton either. But I guess Guyton. But what if Josh Palmer is activated this week and plays? Like, I guess Guyton.
Yeah. Well, if Palmer's out there, go get him. And here we go. Tight end Tucker Kraft or Tyler Higbee. You
I'm
are
going
definitely hurting
Kraft.
from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going Kraft. I know it's hard not to start Higbee after those 2 touchdowns last week, but the Browns are one of the best against the tight end. I mean, look, the Chiefs are good against tight end too, but Tucker Kraft actually gets targets. Prior to last week, when's the last time Higbee even had like a catch? And I'm being dead serious. Like, what was his stat line prior to last week? It was like, okay, he had 1 catch the week before, 0 catches the week before that. You know what I mean? 5, 1, 2, 2. Like, I'm not chasing that game from last week. I'll just gamble on Kraft.
I would also gamble on Kraft. He's, in a 14-teamer, he's not the worst streaming option.
Right.
So we got Charbonnet, Guyton, and Kraft, and good luck.
Yeah, good 3 in a row. Oof.
Good Steven, luck. If I change my mind and drop Madison, which one should I grab, Love or Mayfield?
I mean, I probably have to prefer Mayfield. If you're only grabbing a guy for this week, which I think this is, he had the question where he was just gonna like not play a QB and take the L, right? Because they have the weird QB rule or whatever. Or they had some weird rule, I don't remember, but some kind of weird rule. But if I had to pick one this week, I think I gotta go Baker. Just a better matchup at home against Carolina. But if you were looking for somebody, beyond this week, it would definitely be Love. But if it's just this week, I'll go Baker.
Yeah, close, really close, but slight edge to Baker because of the matchup. Jacob Ibarra is 10-2. Very nice. Got CMC, Moss, JJ Waddle, and Pittman. How far does this team go? Don't know what size your league is.
I mean, this, even without Moss, this is still a good team. CMC, JJ Waddle, Pittman. The problem is, like, who do you have behind Moss? Because if JT does come back week 15, I mean,
right,
that kills Moss. So, but I mean, look, CMC, JJ Waddle, Pittman, you got a good shot. I mean, look, you're 10-2, so I assume you probably have another good running back. If you're 10-2.
Unless it was JT. Well, if it is JT, then problem solved, because then he comes back and So you in the playoffs should be fine. Again, don't know if this is a 12-man league, then you definitely should be a strong contender. And then Louis C. What's up, Louis? 9-3, also first place. 12-team PPR. Thank you for clarifying. Stroud, Sun God, Debo, Ridley, CMC, and White. The Muth. On the bench is Fergie, Johnson, Swift, Rice, Myers, T-Law, and Mitchell. Wants to know who to flex.
Swift. Flex Swift. It's a good matchup for Swift this week. I know you see, 40. Well, no, they play. No, why do I keep thinking they're playing the Bills? That was last week. Okay, it's not a great matchup for Swift this week. But look, the 49ers haven't been like a complete shutdown run defense. It should be a competitive game. I mean, I can't do Jacoby Myers. Maybe Rice, but I don't think I could play Rice over Swift. I'm going Swift in the flex.
Yeah, the only one I would consider is Rice, but the good thing with Swift is that even if he's not doing a lot on the ground, he will catch passes. He does have a floor. He does have touchdown upside. So I think even despite the matchup, I would go Swift also. And your starting lineup is totally fine. All right, Louis. Well, keep it going. And thank you. We should be thanking you. Thank you for always checking in with us. And then we got Chocolate Rain 74 PPR, pick 3. Wide receiver 1, 2, and a flex. Olave, assuming he plays. Ayuk, Chase, Rice, Nico, B-Rob, and Brees Hall.
Well, I'll say if Olave plays, I'm going Olave, Ayuk, and Nico. If Olave is out, I'm going Ayuk, Nico, and Rice. Would be my choices.
Ayuk is the number one, right? Ayuk is the one here. Yeah, I think Olave, if he plays, he's got to be the 2. This is PPR. I'm not going to start Brees. Probably Nico. Again, assuming Nico's a full go. Even if Tank does play, which he's been playing, that doesn't seem to matter. Nico had a pretty good game last week. So
there
you go. And then the Rico guy, which is Phil. What's up? No trades. 14-team league, 10 starters, handcuffs. I do have Rico, of course you do. And Chandler, Elijah Mitchell, and Rashawn. would you bother with Gainwell or keep these guys?
I don't think I'd bother with Gainwell. I think he's saying he has Rico and Chandler, but he's saying Elijah Mitchell and Rashawn are
Oh,
available.
okay. Yeah. All three of those guys are available. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but I
I would
mean,
prefer, yeah, over Chandler. I would prefer any of those guys.
yeah, I think Rashawn's the one I'm adding the most because he really took over this backfield on Monday night. And now they're going into the bye. Maybe they get him going down the stretch. Elijah Mitchell needs a CMC injury. Obviously, if that happens, Elijah Mitchell is going to be great. But without that, he's not going to give you much. I think I could add Rashawn over Chandler right now.
Yeah. And if it was any other team, I would probably say, objectively speaking, Elijah Mitchell is a better stash than Rico, but you can't drop Rico. I mean, that's your thing. You got to keep him. So, yeah, agree with that. Mitchell is interesting, of course, but Rashawn at least is getting touches. So there you go. Add Rashawn, and this should be fine. We got Aaron Achi. Start 2 receivers. Garrett Wilson, DK Sutton, Marquise Brown, Curtis Samuel.
Oh, man. I don't know if I'm tired or you guys are just bringing the tough ones tonight. Hollywood and man, am I really going Sutton?
Sutton is solid pretty much every week. I mean,
I know.
there's hardly any week where he hasn't scored a touchdown.
It's close.
In fact, now look at it. 3. There's been only 3 games this year that Cortland Sutton has not scored a touchdown.
Yeah, maybe Hollywood and Sutton.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Hollywood and Sutton.
Not feeling DK Metcalf. I mean, Wilson. It's actually close between Sutton and Wilson for me. Somehow Garrett Wilson keeps putting up decent fantasy games with horrendous QB play, which I guess shows how good Garrett Wilson is. Also, the fact they don't throw to anybody else. But it's Houston. They should have to throw it a lot. Hollywood and Sutton.
There you go. Hollywood and Sutton. Gabriel, unfortunately, not making the postseason this year. So
There you go.
change the name of the morning missile and go and Taysom. That's the way to do it. You're still starting a legit lineup. Monty Warren, Spears, Olave, Puka Higgins, Noah Brown, and Kincaid. Okay, let's do it. 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 flex.
It's got to be Monty and Warren at running back. If Olave plays, it's Olave, and I probably still go Puka. If Olave doesn't play, it's Puka and Noah Brown, and then flex. Oh my gosh! I guess I'd flex Kincaid. I'm not flexing Spears or Higgins. So if I got to play Puka and Noah Brown, I'm flexing Kincaid. So Monty Warren, Olave, Puka. And then I probably would flex Noah Brown over Kincaid. But if Olave's out, I'm going Puka, Noah Brown, and then Kincaid in the flex.
Yeah, has to be Monty Warren at running back. It cannot be Higgins. Olave, Puka, Kincaid. No. Yeah. I'll just say this is a good time to point out that even if you you're not going to make the playoffs, maybe you're already technically eliminated, don't give up your team. Don't be one of those who are just like, benches all your players, out of spite or got guys on bye or injured. At least try to make it competitive. I mean, what are you proving by showing that you're not paying attention anymore, that you're a sore loser? I mean, honestly, that's just what I think of. People are like, oh, forget it. If you're not that interested, you don't have to spend much time. It takes 5 seconds to set a lineup. Because if you do that, you just check out the rest of the season, or you make these, stupid trades to offset the balance of the league. No one's going to want you in the league next year. So just, don't be a poor sport.
Right.
All right, that was my PSA.
Okay.
95 says became a member. I could have sworn you already were.
Right? Right?
All right, but there you go. Hit that like button, everybody. Maybe it was a 1 month thing. I don't know how that
I don't
works.
know.
All right, we got Daniel Chavez. Welcome back, Daniel. We need 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, a flex, and a defense. All right, Brees, Gibbs, Charbonnet, Ford.
All right. I think it's got to be Brees and Gibbs. Not feeling Charbonnet, not feeling Ford. Brees and Gibbs.
Yeah, agree. Receiver is Amari, Deontay, Watson, and that says Samuel, assuming Curtis Samuel on waivers.
I mean, Deontay and Watson, I guess. I'm not starting Cooper. Am I playing Samuel over Watson? I don't know. Maybe Samuel might be safer, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe just go Deontay and Watson. Maybe just go Deontay and Watson. I'm definitely going Ingram at tight end. You got to go Falcons against the Jets. Got to play Falcons against the Jets.
Yeah, Ingram, like Ingram this week, and then Falcons, exactly. And then here's the dilemma is who to flex.
Oh, we need a flex. Well, maybe I would pick up Curtis Samuel. Drop the Saints, pick up Curtis Samuel, flex Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, good point. You really don't need 2 defenses.
And I don't think the Saints have some like crazy good playoff schedule, do they?
No, I don't think so.
Like where you're like, well, I'm stashing them for whatever week.
No, they're not one of those teams that jumped out at least.
I mean, they do have the Giants week 15. Rams, Bucks. I mean, they don't have a terrible playoff schedule, but I don't know. Do you really need 2 defenses, Falcons and the Saints?
No, you really don't. I'm guessing there's no defense that would be just as fine that you could stream those weeks. So there you go. Drop the Saints. You can flex Samuel. We're going Deontay and Watson, Ingram, Brees, and Gibbs. There you go. We have UTERP 24. Full PPR starting running backs and receivers are Henry Robinson, Hill, Nakua Laporta, Douglas Charbonnet. The bench has Cooks, Ford, Cup, and Pickens.
Let's see. Henry Bijan. Oh, no, it's Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I think Brian Robinson.
Yeah, Douglas. Well, you might not be able to play Douglas. And even if he plays, like how I know it's the Chargers, you feel like, oh, it's Douglas, it's the Chargers, but it's Bailey Zappi. Like,
It is Bailey Zappi. Yeah. Douglas
I might
is
just gamble on Pickens over Douglas, honestly.
yeah.
But I think that's it. I mean, how sad is it Cooper Cup on bench? Yeah, I'll put Pickens in over Douglas, but I think I'm leaving everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, even if Douglas plays, just not enough upside there.
No.
Juice has a defense question. Chargers or Jets? Chargers get the Patriots. I think that's good. Jets get the Falcons. It's also not bad.
Yeah, I think I gotta go Jets. They're a better real life defense. You can't be scared of the Falcons. And Chargers, they don't have Joey Bosa now. I know they did okay against the Ravens last week, but I think I got to take the Jets against Desmond Ritter at home. Yeah, I'll go Jets.
Yeah, Ritter is usually good for at least a turnover or 2. So I think I'm fine with that. All right. And then 95 does have a question, which thank you again. Appreciate that. For RB needs 2. Bijan, Ford, Brees, and Achan.
I'll just go Bijan and Brees. I would love to say Achan. It's the Commanders, but after last time, let me see this guy get through a game healthy first. I'll go Bijan and Brees.
Bijan for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely out of this group. No question. Achan too risky. So, Jerome Ford just not getting enough touches. So it's got to be Brees.
Doesn't even make the Browns don't even make sense. It's so frustrating.
No, it really aggravated me. I was digging through some stats today, in the data suite, and I was sorting inside the 5-yard line carries, and Kareem Hunt, like it's the percentage, the team's share of carries inside the 5, and Kareem Hunt was like 66% or something like that. I was like, why? Just why? Like Jerome Ford is like some smallish back who can't score. Like he's probably a better short yardage back than Ford. Anyways, yeah. All right, let's do a quick lightning round here. Some answers to questions that are not super chats, and we're still catching our way up, but want to try to get to as many people as we can to help. William says he's getting different answers every time. Let's try not to do that. Najee or Singletary?
I'm going Najee. It's the Cardinals. And look, Pierce came back last week. Singletary got less touches. He's probably going to get, I'm not less touches than Pierce. I'm just saying less touches than he had been getting. He's probably going to get less touches again. Pierce, you got to think he's going to probably get a little more involved. Second week back from injury. It's the Cardinals. Like, what have we seen recently against the Cardinals? Devin Singletary went for 150. Kyron Williams went for 140 or whatever he just went for, or whatever, 140. Royce Freeman, like I said, just went for 70, almost 80 yards on 13 carries. Like, they don't have a run defense. It doesn't exist. It's got to be Najee.
You said Najee. I'm going to go Singletary. So, no, I'm just kidding. Not going to do that to you, William. I'm going to give you the same answer. Yeah, everything you said, it's Najee. We saw how good he looked last week, and now he got a better matchup. So you got to feel good about Najee. I mean, I don't mind Singletary. I think he's fine this week, but I think Najee's just in a much better spot. And then Jose Rodriguez, Mixon or Charbonnet?
Really put me to the test here, but I'm going to say Charbonnet. I don't want any part of this Cincinnati running game right now. I mean, what? At least Charbonnet caught 4 passes last week, got you almost double digit in PPR. Mixon, I mean, what, like 16 rushing yards against the Steelers?
No.
I'll just go Charbonnet. Hope for the best.
Yeah, because I feel like Charbonnet can catch as many, if not more, passes than Mixon. Even against Dallas, I feel like he's got better upside to score because he's just in a less worse offense nowadays. So I'll go Charbonnet too. And then Bernard wants to know Taysom or Laporta.
Nah, I'm going Laporta. Laporta's been mostly great this year. If I have Laporta, I'm just putting him in my lineup, not really thinking about the tight end position.
Yeah, I'm might be calling a good Taysom week this week, but I'm not going to start him over Laporta. If I have a good set and forget tight ends, no. Boomer wants to know, and you can answer this too. Do you think if Boyle is terrible again, meaning if he is Tim Boyle again this week, will they demand Trevor Siemian or not?
I mean, they probably will demand Trevor Siemian, but it's not the fans' choice. The fans don't have a choice.
Right.
I mean, look, they demanded no Zach Wilson for weeks, and then now they get Tim Boyle. I mean, here's the thing. They said it can't be worse than Zach Wilson. Well, it was worse with Tim Boyle. They're going to say Trevor Siemian can't be worse. Well, let's put Trevor Siemian in there and see how it goes. It might be worse, honestly. It might be worse. Like there's no good option. I mean, your best option is Aaron Rodgers with one Achilles standing in the pocket, throwing flat-footed, screens to Garrett Wilson. That might be your best option as the Jets, honestly. Brutal.
Brutal indeed. The question is why Tim Boyle ever? Like, why didn't they just go to Siemian in the first place? I
Well, that's got to. Yeah, that's the question. That's the question. Like, what does that say about Trevor Siemian?
Somebody, I don't remember, and I don't care to look it up, why Tim Boyle is like one of Aaron Rodgers' guys. Like, did he know him from Green Bay or something? I don't know. Like, is this him behind this? But why? I don't want to think about it anymore. All right. Let's go to one of our other members, Python. Sit to Brees Gibbs, Chase Pittman, Javonte White, London Moss Downs.
Well, I think you got to sit Javonte this week.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a terrible spot, but I don't feel great about Javonte this week. And then I think you got to sit London. I mean, I know I don't love Chase this week, but at least Chase could take like one catch and run 40 yards for a touchdown. London against Sauce and the Jets. I'm going to sit Javonte in London.
Yeah, Javonte is the guy I'm definitely sitting. You got to start White. Tempted to sit Brees, but I think London is the smarter guy to sit. So there you go. All right, we're gonna catch up to the rest of the super chats because we still got some, but we'll get there. So if you did super chat about the last half hour or so, don't worry. We're not skipping anybody right now. We're just catching up. But first, this is halftime. So it's a good time for me to remind everyone that we are partnered with Underdog. And if you haven't tried it yet, this is a good time because you still get 100% deposit match if you use our promo code of Endgame. And that right now, the limit is up to $100. And you get the new customer special this week right now. If you do this in the next 24 hours, it's Dak Prescott just getting 1 yard. It doesn't have to be a top 3 quarterback this week. Just needs 1 yard. Take the higher. You get that free pick. So check it out now. They have all sorts of specials always going on. This is a good time to see what it's all about. And hopefully we'll get to do another live draft. Thanksgiving kind of threw things off last week, but hopefully maybe this Friday we'll get to do something like that. All right, on to the next one. Colin Casey, Laporta or Kittle?
I think you got to go Kittle. He just has so much weekly upside, right? Like he's the type of tight end that can win you a week. So I think you just got to roll with Kittle. If you have both these guys, I'm like, wow, but I think you got to just roll with Kittle.
Yeah, it's nice to have 2 good tight ends. Gonna go Kittle as well, and 1 receiver, Jayden Reed, Douglas, or Rice.
I'm going Rice. You got to feel pretty good about Rice. His usage last week, not a bad matchup against Green Bay. He's got Patrick Mahomes. I think you got to go Rice.
Yeah, Douglas, not sure if he'll play, not sure if it matters in that offense. Same matchup here, but again, Reed splitting targets with other guys. Rice is who knows, right? It's like just when we're ready to be out on Rice, then all of a sudden he steps up with his biggest target share of the season, and it's like just when you buy in on him, you're ready to have the rug pulled. But I'll still trust Rice because he is technically the number 1 guy there. So yes, Autos it is. Graham McLaren, Jags or Dolphins on defense?
I think you got to go Dolphins, right?
Sam Howell, good to get sacked. You know that.
Throw interceptions. I mean, the only fear is like the Commanders putting up garbage time points. But I mean, so much upside with the Dolphins. I think you got to go Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dolphins. And then MC, Kirk or Garrett Wilson?
I'm still going Kirk. I know he hasn't been like great lately, but he's still been pretty good. They're at home. Yeah, I'm still rolling with Kirk. Wow,
Yeah,
1-4 to 8-4. Nice. Well done.
Yeah, I saw that. That's huge. So yeah, keep the streak going. Can always feel good about Kirk. And this matchup is not something that's gonna scare me off of him. So definitely go Kirk. Spaceman Drew. All right, once an opinion on the playoff lineup. Ready for the postseason. CJ Stroud, good. Mostert, Najee, Allen, Pittman, Hawkinson, flexing Smith, flexing Dell. On the bench is Williams, Njoku, Cook, and Gainwell.
Seems solid. I mean, RB2 could be an issue, but Najee's been okay. Wide receivers are great. I mean, Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman, Devonta Smith, that's Tank Dell. That's fantastic. You got Hawk. You got Stroud. This team definitely is ready to make a run. It's ready to make a run for sure.
Yeah, the strength of this team is your receivers, and specifically the fact that you have two really high upside flex plays. There's a weakness, it's running back, because you have two guys that are solid, but again, Mostert, even though he is probably still technically an RB1 on the season, I'm not sure if he's really going to be an RB1 in the fantasy playoffs, but still has weekly upside, still, touchdown upside. So this team could definitely make a run because you don't have any really weak spots. Top tight end, top quarterback, you're good. So I don't think, I mean, even if you could make trades or shake anything up, I don't think I would. All right, JR, Muth or Ferguson?
Yeah, I think we said. I think you got to go. Didn't we do this already? I think you got to
I
go
think,
slightly Fryermuth.
yeah, I think we did it. So go Fryermuth there. Ranjit. Yeah, we sometimes have reactions. I also have George Pickens. Could flex him over McBride.
Yeah, I think I'd rather flex Pickens over McBride. At least Pickens has that upside. I'm leaving Cooper Cup alone. Again, let me see Cooper Cup look at least halfway decent before I put him back in my lineup.
Yeah, it's rough, I know, but maybe Pickens. I almost went out on a limb and picked Pickens as a boom this week. I was like, nah, that's probably a little too risky. So, but you never know. That's exactly the thing with him. You don't expect it. Tyler Connor, who wins? Purdy, Pittman, Deontay Gibbs, Monty Ferg, and Reed. Or
One of these.
Mahomes, DK, Devontae, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Thomas. Is he playing? In London.
Let's see. Pittman Deontay versus DK Devonta. All right, feels pretty close. Gibbs Monty versus Bijan Aaron Jones. I mean, you got to give the Gibbs Monty side the edge because Aaron Jones might not even play. Logan Thomas versus Ferguson. I got to give Ferguson. London versus Reed. I might have to go. I think the Purdy side wins.
Yeah, I think if there was a solid running back instead of Aaron Jones there, that might sway me to the other side, but probably lean the first team. I think it's interesting if I'm looking at this, it says 0.7 PPR. So again, like 3/4 of a point. Okay. Not full PPR, not half, but in between. All right. Vinny wants to know this. Would you trade Howell for Fields?
Yeah, give me Fields. Howell has a brutal rest of the season schedule after this, and it's not like Howell has been like risk free. So give me Fields rest of the season.
Yeah. How this week could put up good points. Next week he's on bye. Like Fields on bye this week, Howell's on bye next week. And Fields has a better schedule, but also Fields has more upside. Howell has a pretty brutal schedule down the stretch. So I would just go for the upside of Fields. Now, obviously, I'm going to assume you don't need somebody for this week, but other than that, yeah. Boomer wants to know if somebody dropped Khalil Herbert, is he worth adding? I mean, I don't know if you want to break it to him as to who you might want to drop for him.
No, Rashawn Johnson badly outsnapped him on Monday night. I think we see way more Rashawn Johnson after the bye. I'm not grabbing Khalil Herbert. No way.
You rather stash Damian Pierce over Khalil Herbert?
I mean, I guess you could grab Khalil Herbert over Damian Pierce, but Khalil Herbert's not the guy I want. There's got to be somebody else worth picking up. Even grab like a Tyjae Spears, Elijah Mitchell, like a pure handcuff that at least if something happens, like if something happens to Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry, you're like, okay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Herbert's not a guy you need to worry about. Matthew Newhouse, pick 3, CMC, Rashad White, Stevenson, and Mostert.
Man. Got to bench one of these guys.
Yeah. I mean, I think you obviously you're starting CMC. I think White probably is the number 2 guy.
Yeah, I think you got to start White this week against the Panthers. It's between Stevenson and Mostert. Mostert against the Commanders.
I know. I think that's too good to pass up.
I think so, man. It's hard to bench Stevenson, but if you got Mostert, just go. I guess you're benching Stevenson, man. That's tough. That is
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, but Mostert against that Washington run defense, way too good to sit now. Let's do this one because it's Carmen. Trade deadline is tonight, so Mostert and Garrett Wilson to get Diggs. It's a non PPR league though.
Mm.
Interesting timing because you don't get to play Diggs this week. He's on bye.
Oh man, it's non PPR. How good has Diggs really been in non PPR? I don't even know. Probably good for a wide receiver, but not fantastic. I don't know. I think I got to keep Mostert in non PPR. If this was PPR, I'd say give me Diggs easy, easy Diggs. Non PPR, I might just keep Mostert.
And let me just clarify that Aaron Rodgers possibly coming back has absolutely nothing to do with wanting to keep Garrett Wilson or anything like that. So let's just make sure we are clear there. Yeah, I think in non PPR, exactly. It's tough to give up Mostert. I would say if Mostert's like just never starting for you because he's like your 4th running back, okay, fine. But other than that, if he's a starting running back for you, it's probably not going to help you. Doug Fenton, Foreman, Gus, Jones on bench. Drop Foreman for Rashawn. We'll kind of just talked about this.
Yeah, you can definitely drop Foreman for Rashawn. Definitely.
Yeah. And I do get, look, they're off this week. And maybe Foreman gets healthy for week 14, but I still don't think he gets more touches than Rashawn. Do you?
No, I do not.
All right. Long way to ask here, Rico. Yeah, that's a great movie. Bother with Josh Kelly as an Eckler handcuff.
Yeah, I mean, look again, fantastic playoff schedule. I know Josh Kelly wasn't great earlier in the year, but it's such a good playoff schedule. I think he's worth it. He's not my favorite handcuff, but they do have a phenomenal playoff schedule, so there is that.
Well, here's the thing: is if you have Eckler, it just makes sense to have Kelly
Right.
because what happens? Hopefully not. But what happens if Eckler goes down and he's just out, just out the rest of the season? You're going to be scrambling, and so rather than scramble, at least have the guy you can plug in there. So that's the name of the game here: having not worry about who am I going to start in week 15 and it's the playoffs and I just lost my RB1. So if you're an Eckler, owner, I think you kind of should have, you don't have to if you already have good RB depth, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah, it's a good one. I'll have to watch that again. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. That's great. All right. My lineup is getting worse and worse with these injuries. That's what do you always say, Chris?
Yeah, fantasy football is a game of attrition, man. You just gotta. And people always say like, "Hey, what's most important? Like the draft, or making trades, or working the waiver wire." It's like no, it's like dodging the huge injuries, right? Dodging the Justin Jeffersons, the Cooper Cups, the whatevers. Who else? The Nick Chubbs, right? It's dodging those. It's dodging those big injuries, which you don't really have any control over.
Exactly. It's kind of just fate. If you can dodge a season-ending injury, you can dodge it.
Yes.
95. Thanks. What about Wide receiver and flex got 2 of your top guys on bye. Okay, so Olave, if he plays, Garrett Wilson, Puka, Nico, and Achane need a wide receiver and a flex.
I'm going to say Olave and Nico if Olave plays. Otherwise, Puka and Nico. Maybe
Yeah.
am I still too high on Puka? I might still be too high on Puka. I don't know, but
Well, in this case, I don't think it's a matter of being high on Puka more so than just being worried about the
right.
other guys. So
Yes.
Nico is one, Olave is the other. If Olave doesn't play, I'm fine with Puka. Yeah. Arvin has a defense question. He wants to know rest of season, Ravens or Browns.
I think the Brown. Well, I mean, I know people are saying like the Browns have this great playoff schedule, but when I look, okay, Bears, that's great, but then in Houston, that's not so good. But then they do get the Jets. That's obviously fantastic. Who do the Ravens get?
Well, it's not good. I'll tell you that. I just looked it up. All right, the Ravens are off this week. They get the Rams at home. Okay, that's
Oh
fine.
yeah,
At Jacksonville, at San Francisco, and then they get Miami. So, no thanks.
nah, Browns over Baltimore for sure.
Easily Browns. Let's see. There we go. See? Conspiracy confirmed. Boyle and Rodgers are buddies. What does that tell you?
That's pretty sad if the Jets are making decisions based on what Aaron Rodgers wants.
That's how they got him over there. All right. Enough Aaron Rodgers talk. Let's see. Aaron with another Aaron Achi. Pick one, Connor or Javante.
I think it's got to be Connor. It's not a bad matchup against the Steelers. They're not very strong against the run. Javante, I mean, what is the upside? I mean, look, I'm not nearly as high on Connor as I was before Kyler, but not feeling Javante this week. I'll go Connor.
Yeah, not feeling great about Javante these days. Feeling better about Samaje Perine, to be honest. So in this case, Connor maybe he has some angry runs against the Steelers. I don't know. But did you die? Who do I flex? Sutton, B-Rob, Samuel, or Noah Brown? Doesn't say if it's PPR. Guess we'll assume it's PPR.
I think if it's PPR, I'm going Sutton. If it's non-PPR, I probably got to go Brian Robinson. But honestly, is it just Sutton either way? Like, does Brian Robinson have any more touchdown upside than Sutton? Probably not.
I mean, it comes down, do we think Washington, keeps this game close? Do we think they can establish the run? No. I mean, in that case, then it's
Sutton
possible.
either way. I think it's Sutton either way. Like, both guys have touchdown upside, but like if I think about it, I think, okay, both teams are probably going to have to throw and put up points. That favors Sutton. So I'm going to go Sutton either way, honestly.
I'll just say this. Look, at least once a game, almost every game, Tua is good for throwing a really bad interception, right, into double coverage. So if that happens early, which has happened before, then maybe Washington puts up points and gets up on them. But if not, if the Dolphins just come out full throttle and put up points early, then yeah, B-Rob could get scripted out. So yeah, I think you just take what Sutton gives you. He's been really, really consistent and solid in PPR. Again, the ceiling isn't as highest, but I don't think the ceiling is super high for any of those other guys this week. Edgar Padilla, 1 QB, Mayfield, Geno, Carr, Minshew, Pickett, Zappy, or Levis.
No. I think I'm gonna go Minshew. They get the Titans. It's a good matchup. Cannot play Bailey Zappi. That is like, you might as well just zap a big L on your fantasy team if you're going to play. Like, just zap. Yeah, I don't even have a terrible joke for that. That's how bad it is. Go Minshew. Go Minshew.
Yes. Yes. With these guys, it's either Minshew or Mayfield. Yeah, either one. I don't think it's kind of like the same guy. I guess Minshew rushes more, doesn't he? Has rushing touchdown upside.
Yeah, I guess every now and then he scrambles in for a touchdown, but it's more about the fact he's playing the Titans. It's not a tough matchup.
Right.
I'm done with Carr. I'm just done. You know what I loved hearing today from Dennis Allen? They're going to start working on red zone practice on Thursdays and Fridays now, not just Fridays. Like I don't know, maybe teams only practice red zone on Fridays, but like am I supposed to now believe that now all of a sudden this offense is going to start scoring touchdowns because they're now practicing red zone twice a week instead of once? Yeah, no, like he just doesn't throw touchdowns. Like, give me Minshew.
Yeah. No, Carr's not the guy here. Neither of the last three with these choices. So there you go. Minshew it is. And then we got RD, Pollard, or Moss.
I think I still got to go Pollard. It's not a bad matchup for him. Seattle looked early in the year like a good run defense. Now they look terrible. They're at home. He can score. I think I'm going to give Pollard the edge over Moss.
Yeah, I would too. It's close. I think you still feel pretty good about Pollard the way he has been running a little bit better, and it's not a bad matchup. So Pollard slightly, and I just realized RD said missed. If we missed you, apologize for that. Did not see it. Edgar has another one. Edgar Padilla, KC or Cleveland. Got. Let's see. KC is going to face
Packers, Cleveland against the
Packers
Rams.
on the road.
Both on the road. They're both on the road.
Against the Rams. You know.
I probably go Cleveland. I mean, are we really scared about Matthew Stafford and the Rams?
Right.
I'll go Cleveland.
Yeah. Stafford has been better, but I think against a tough defense, I would go with Cleveland too. All right, and then we got Artist. Two wide receivers in full. DK, Lockett, Douglas, Reed, Downs, or Samuel.
Downs and Lockett is where I'm going. I think I still got to go with Lockett against the Cowboys. Reed's certainly interesting, but I don't know if I'm ready to put him in over Lockett. And I like Downs a lot again this week. Like I said, it's against Tennessee, 13 targets last week. I'm going to go Downs and Lockett.
Yeah. I mean, can't love Seattle this week. But if there's a receiver you feel like you can trust a little bit, it would be Lockett over DK. Yeah, can't do Douglas. I'm not gonna put Samuel over these guys. So and Downs again, I'm still in on Downs too. And you can't do two Seattle receivers against Dallas. That would be too much. Lockett and Downs it is. And then the Rico guy is back. I have Miami defense after week 15. Yeah, Miami doesn't have a great playoff schedule. That's for sure. Green Bay is it. Got Carolina, Minnesota. I mean, that's pretty good. I know Green Bay. Then doesn't Green Bay have the Giants before then? I know Green Bay has a good schedule.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina, you got to feel good about any team, any defense against Carolina pretty much. And Minnesota's not terrible. It's either going to be Josh Dobbs or Nick Mullins. It's not going to be Kirk Cousins. So, yeah, not a bad stash.
Yeah, but that's the thing is you can't just do this now because this week you don't want to start Green Bay against Kansas City and
Right.
Miami gets Washington. So yeah, I think you'd be fine with Green Bay the rest of the season. League is full of D hoarders. That's very interesting. All right, what about this? Dynasty question, but slightly certified. Draft a tank. I did that myself. Way too much. Would you drop? Is it time to drop Tank in Dynasty now that he's kind of lost his RB2 job?
No, and especially not for Dearness Johnson. I mean, What is Dearness Johnson, like 26 years old, something like that? Never just been a journeyman running back. I would much rather hold Bigsby for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you need somebody as a stash for the rest of the season, I guess it's Dearness Johnson, but there's really no reason to hold him in Dynasty. So you can you drop Bigsby? Sure, but not for Dearness Johnson. Unless you have ATN also, and you're thin at running back depth wise, and you want his replacement. But yeah, it's Dynasty. All right, Skylar Gessert needs to stream one between Geno, Carr, Russ, Stafford, Love.
I think it's Russ. I think it's Russ for me. Against Houston, probably going to have to throw, probably going to have to put up points, and it's probably not going to be through the running game. So, and Russ has actually been scrambling a little bit too, which is nice. So I think it's Russ for me.
Well, I'll say this on the waiver wire video, and I'm trying to make a conscious effort to every week now. This is almost playoff time. Mention at least one quarterback as a streaming option, especially with Joe Burrow suddenly out, and a tight end with Mark Andrews suddenly out, but also people need tight ends and your handcuff running backs. So last week I mentioned Love. This week I mentioned Howell because I like his potential upside if they, have to throw it 50 times. And I said, well, if Howell isn't available, I guess my next two would be, and I mentioned Russ as one of them. Didn't mention Love because of the matchup. It's not great, but I'm kind of coming around on him, not just because he looked a lot better than I expected last week, but also I don't think maybe it's as bad a spot because he might also have to throw it a lot. So it's either Russ or Love for me, is what I'm saying. And Russ, I think we need to see him running like he was running last week. If he keeps rushing the ball, yes, I think. And he's probably going to have to throw it a lot too, right, against Houston.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's between Russ and Love. I'll just say that. One of those two guys. Steven, have you ever dropped a player with a tough schedule? All right, like setting a trap here. Setting a trap. Interesting strategy. I like
I don't
it.
think
I
I've
like
ever. I'm being dead serious. I don't think I've ever thought that. My only thought process when dropping or adding players is like, if I guess, I mean, maybe indirectly, like I think like if I drop this player and somebody else picks him up, do I care? First of all, the second thing I think about is if I drop this player, what's the likelihood that anybody even picks him up? And then the third thing I think about is like, is the player I'm picking up worth way more than the player I'm dropping? Like that's usually my three kind of thoughts, right? Like,
yeah.
so like the only league this would even be a thing is probably my home league because that's the league where like
Right.
I make some very questionable drops in that league because I'm like, no one's probably going to pick this guy up. Or if they do, oh well, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like in my other leagues, it's like I hardly ever drop players because there's nobody worth picking up over them. It's like, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I've never actually thought like, ooh, I'm going to drop this guy and I hope somebody picks him up and plays him against me. I've never thought that.
No, let me just say I really appreciate this. I love the thinking. This is total end game type strategy, right? This literally is end game. You're thinking about the playoffs and what your opponent's going to do. So I like it. I appreciate it. I respect it. I don't think I've ever thought, oh, I hope somebody else picks this guy up because if I dropped him, there's probably no reason anybody would want to pick him up.
Right.
And then you can't assume that someone would pick him up and play him. But I'll definitely drop a guy even if he's a name, like a big name type of player. I don't know if is there a good example. I want to think of it. Is there a good example right now of a guy who's like was drafted high or was like a big name player that you're like, this drop like a couple weeks ago, we're like, maybe just drop Christian Watson. Now I'm kind of back in on Christian Watson, but is there a player like that right now that you're okay dropping? And everyone would be like, oh my God, how did he drop like Amari Cooper?
Yeah, T. Higgins.
T. Higgins. Okay.
Cooper Kupp.
I'm not dropping Cooper Kupp. Don't tell me you're dropping
But
him.
yeah. No, the funny thing is T. Higgins was dropped in my home league like 2 weeks ago, and he's still just sitting there. Still just sitting there. Anybody can grab him if they want. No one wants him.
Well, there you go. I mean, and I wouldn't drop a player just because of a tough schedule. I mean, again, if it's a good enough player, you can't overreact just to schedule. But yeah, I think I like the way you're thinking here. All right, Justin Keene. Superflex. Herb Allen, Chase, Dell, Etienne, Connor, Ingram, Pittman, Stafford, I guess. Butker, Dallas. On the benches, Tucker Williams, Jacobs, Dobbs, D Hop, Gus Edwards. Which running back this week?
Etienne Connor. Is that Josh Jacobs? I don't know any other Jacobs.
Guess so. I think you got to put Jacobs over Connor.
Yeah, I'm going Etienne and Jacobs. Etienne and Jacobs, definitely. Man, I hope you didn't have Jacobs on your bench last week.
Right? Wait a minute. Raiders are on bye this week. That's why.
Oh. That's right. That's right, they are. Okay, never mind. It makes sense. Yeah, then I'm going Connor. Edwards on a bye too, but you can't feel good about Edwards after what we saw last week. Yeah, Etienne Connor. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, it took me a second to realize, like, why? And then I was thinking of the schedule. I was like, wait, who do the Raiders play? Oh, nobody.
Don't play anybody.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, you don't really have any running backs to play then, do you? This was a trick question. All right.
Right. I think he has Javante. I think that's who the Williams is, but I'm not playing.
Nah, if it's Javante, I'm not playing Javante. And then Brybro. HN is the only flex. Must be a heavy bye week for you. How bad is it? Well,
I mean, he did practice limited today. Hopefully he plays. They get the Commanders. I don't think he's the worst flex. Certainly think there's worse flexes out there. It's tough. This is brutal. This is a brutal bye week, and it's week 13. Like, why couldn't this be like week 5? You know what I mean? Week 13, and this is the bye week we get. Like, oh man, it's brutal. Brutal.
when is the NFL going to start considering fantasy a little more when they make the schedule?
Right?
Look, HN could wind up being a great flex if he plays and doesn't get hurt and does something. It's just the risk is why you don't necessarily want to roll him out for sure, because we saw what happened last time. But I mean, out of all the flex options you could have, which apparently you have none, but out of all the flex options out there, he's got arguably the highest upside.
Right.
So see what happens. And then Michael Cazares, HN question again. HN, Sharp, or Ford in non-PPR?
I might just gamble with HN if he plays. Because again, like Sharp is okay in PPR, like he has a floor, but what's this in non-PPR? Like those 4 little pass catches don't do much for you. Ford, I mean, gosh, can't feel good about Ford. If HN plays, I'll go HN. I mean, if he doesn't, then I'll go Charbonnet. But I think if HN plays, I'm going HN in non-PPR.
Exactly. Non-PPR, all those dump offs that Charbonnet is going to get aren't going to help. So, yeah. Now, here's the problem. Charbonnet plays tomorrow. Are we going to know or feel good enough about HN? Are you just going to risk it? Just say, okay, stick with HN. And if he doesn't play, then I guess go forward.
Oh, that does not sound fun.
Yeah.
I guess just go Charbonnet. I mean, at least we know he's getting all the touches, right? And Cowboys aren't as tough as the 49ers. So I guess just go Charbonnet. Don't risk it. Don't risk it.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Thinking of it, you're going to have to decide one way or another about Charbonnet. So I think it's fine. I mean, who knows with HN? MC, saying we missed it, but I do know for a fact we did answer this because I remember saying MC and I remember saying we both said Kirk, right?
Yep, we both said Christian Kirk. I think he's solid. I'm still going Christian Kirk.
Go with the guy not catching passes from Tim Boyle.
Yes.
Or I should say not catching passes from Tim Boyle. Jay Hughes. Welcome back, Jay. Lost JT. You have Jacobs, who's on a bye. Got Kyron, who is in a tough spot. Connor, Cook, and Tajay is a handcuff. Good at wide receiver. Considering dropping either Noah Brown or Cooks to gamble on Mitchell, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, you saying they're your wide receiver 8? These guys are your wide receiver 8? Yeah. You can drop. You can drop them for Mitchell. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, if you're saying you're good at wide receiver, I mean, I don't know who they are, but I believe you. If he's your number 8 receivers, just the fact you have 8 receivers. So who would you rather drop, Brown or Cooks?
Probably Cooks. I just feel like Cooks is more volatile. Like we've seen Noah Brown be good. We've seen Noah Brown be involved more in his offense than Brandon Cooks. So probably Cooks is the guy I would drop between the two.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, really the only problem with Noah Brown is he's been hurt. Remember, not just
Right.
this last 2 weeks, but beginning of the year, he missed the first 4 games. I think it was 4. When he's played, he's been really good. Just can't stay healthy. So I would still go Brown. Again, all you care for is upside if he's your wide receiver 8 or 7 or whatever. So yeah, definitely can do this. And Cooks is the guy to drop. And he's got a follow-up here. Part 2. Riding Dak, good idea. Got 2 tight ends. Can also drop Cooks to snag Fields as a backup. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't mind adding Fields as a backup because he's a high-end QB. I mean, you could probably drop both of them. Grab Mitchell and grab Fields. Do you really, if Noah Brown and Brandon Cooks are your wide receivers 7, 8, do you really need them? And are you really worried like, oh, I'm going to let some team have Noah Brown or Brandon Cooks? I mean, why not just drop them both and pick up Fields and Mitchell?
Exactly. I think, your running backs are good, but it doesn't seem like you have a lot of them. So picking up Mitchell makes sense instead of a 7th or 8th receiver. And then sure, well, like again, what if something happens to Dak and then you're going to be scrambling? I'd rather break out Fields,
Yes.
than be having to say, Geno Smith, Derek Carr. Like, no, I'd rather have Fields. So yeah, I think that's smart. So good thinking on both ends. Pierre DeCoste. Welcome back. Concerned about Eckler. Okay, well, we kind of addressed this way back a couple hours ago, but thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Eckler. And I talk about him on the video tomorrow because he has such a good playoff schedule. But like Eckler's not a guy that you drafted because you're like he's Devon Achane, right? Where it's like this guy at any moment can rip off a 50-yard touchdown run. Like, no. You drafted Austin Eckler because of his pass catching, his touchdown upside, and yeah, he gets carries and stuff too. Well, he's still doing that. Okay, he hasn't done it the last. He did catch 5 or 6 passes last week, but he didn't score. But okay, the touchdowns are going to come, and they're probably going to come in bunches because of the matchups he gets coming up. So, yeah, I don't have any concerns about Eckler right now.
Sure, he had a down week. They played a really good Ravens defense. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was a bad week. Every running back's going to have bad weeks, so no concern basically. Also, drop 2 for the rest of the season. Likely Goddard, Ferguson, and McBride. Yeah, that's way too many tight ends. Who would you drop?
I'm dropping. I mean, you could definitely drop Likely. I mean, have we heard anything about Goddard? Is there any chance he is gonna be back this week?
I think it's iffy. Like he might play, but it's not sure. But I would rather hold him than Ferguson.
It says it looks like Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert will push to play this weekend versus the 49ers. We'll see if it's possible. But yeah, he's probably okay. So at least he's getting close. Yeah, drop Likely and Ferguson.
Definitely drop Likely because on bye.
Yeah,
and I would drop him anyways. This group, yeah, McBride's getting the targets. Goddard, we know what he can do in that offense. So drop Likely and Ferguson, and don't Sweat Eckler. All right, let's do Marcus Haglund. Who do you like here as a flex? Singletary or Rashee Rice?
I'm going Rashee Rice. Even if it's standard scoring, I'm going Rashee Rice. He's getting touchdowns. He's putting up decent yardage totals. I know Singletary gets the Broncos. Certainly makes him interesting this week, but again, Pierce was back last week. Yes, Singletary caught the passes, but they pretty much split 50-50 the carries. I'm going Rice, regardless of format.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it's non-PPR, then you would lean more towards the running back, but don't feel like it's going to be a smash spot for Singletary. And he definitely didn't smash last week, despite getting the vast majority of touches. So, yeah, you're fine with Rice. And yeah, we did kind of hint at this. Pierre's asking, is T. Higgins droppable?
Yeah, T. Higgins is droppable. Yes.
Yes, unfortunately, he is. Not in Dynasty. No, if it's Dynasty,
No,
no, he
not in
didn't
Dynasty.
ask. Somebody else asked. If it's Dynasty, no. But I'm
No,
assuming
not in Dynasty. No, definitely not.
all right. Phil wants to know tight end worth keeping. You got Ferguson this week, grabbed likely last week. Is there a reason to keep likely if you have Ferguson, I guess?
No, I'm still rolling with Ferguson. I mean, it's not like he wasn't involved last week. And he's on a great offense. I'm taking Ferguson over likely.
Yeah, likely was okay. He got some touches, and you're like, oh, for a tight end, yeah, it's kind of encouraging. But am I going to play him over Ferguson next week, the week after? No, I'm not. I think you're fine with Ferguson. Always has touchdown upside, so you can drop likely. All right, and then Jay Hughes.
Oh man,
really? JJ, Chase, and Cub, and Puka need 4 this week. Man, this team should be so much better than it is. Drafted Chase, drafted Cup, traded for a broken JJ. Oh God, this team should dominate, but who are we actually starting this week? Can't start JJ.
Can't start JJ. Who's Metals? Metals down.
Yeah.
Puka Metals down.
Metcalf? Is it Metcalf?
Maybe because he said he needs 4.
I'm guessing Metcalf.
Downs, Chase, Puka, and Metals. Metcalf, whoever that is. That's how
So
low
basically
I
just
am.
not cut.
Yeah, unless Metals is, I don't even know. I don't even know who it could be. Like, I mean, look, I don't really want to start Metcalf either, but at least Metcalf can maybe score or something. So,
Yeah,
Metcalf. Okay. Yeah, not Cup. Not starting Cup. Unbelievable. A team with Jefferson, Chase, and Cup, and it's like, yeah, you're, oh my gosh. Who would have thought? Like, imagine, let's go back in time. Week 1. Well, maybe not week 1 because Cup was hurt, but like middle of August. You're like, in week 13, you're going to have a team with Jefferson, Chase, and Cup on it. You're like, oh, fantasy glory. And then here we are, and it's like, jeez.
Yeah. It's rough. I mean, basically, you just sit one of these guys, it's probably going to be Cup.
Man.
Ayush. What's up, Ayush? Yeah. Final. All right. You got good reason, I'm sure. Oh, okay.
This is why
Priorities.
this is why my fantasy flag football team has been so disappointing lately.
Exactly. Played well. Last game,
T.
one target. Oh man. Claiming T. Higgins status. That's not good.
I know. I might have to drop you, man. You gotta pick it up for my flag fantasy football team.
Exactly. So come on. Let's up your draft status here. Demand, you know what? Go throw a tantrum on the sideline. Demand more targets. Tell them you're going to demand a trade if you don't get targeted.
Yes.
All right. R9 Enzo. Ryanzo. I don't know. Garrett Wilson or Najee at the flex?
I think I got to go Najee this week. It's the Cardinals. It's just like a free square for running backs. I mean, if Royce Freeman, I keep saying Royce Freeman, but if Royce Freeman can get 77 yards and a touchdown on 13 carries, I like Najee Harris's chances this week. I'm going Najee.
Yeah, like again, one of these things that who would have thunk it before the season started? Garrett Wilson benched at this point in the season, but Tim Boyle, no thanks. And here's just to pile on for Jay, who this just really kind of confirms your point about like it really doesn't matter how great you draft. He drafted JT also.
Yeah.
Chase
Well, look, at
Jefferson.
least hopefully you're gonna make the playoffs, but at least it does sound like JT will be back probably by week
Yeah.
15 at least. But you know what's really tilting about JT is like JT was like if you went 0 RB and then you got JT, like you pretty much like had the perfect draft, right? You had the perfect draft. Like you stacked all these awesome wide receivers, and then your league let JT fall to like round 6 or round 7 because oh my gosh, he's on pup. And you're like, that's okay. I got a 0 RB team. And then finally you got JT back, and you're like, ha ha ha, look at all my wide receivers, and I have JT now. And then this happens. It's like that just shows like there's only so much you can do in this game. Like you did everything right and you still got hosed. But hey, hopefully he'll be back week 15 if you're in the playoffs.
Yeah. And also, you're so excited because you got JT at a discount. People were
Yep.
getting some like late in the offseason. People were getting Cooper Cup. Remember, like round 4, round 5. You're like, oh, you kidding? What a steal. And yeah.
Nope.
All right. Let's save all that for after the season. Duval Dan,
Yes.
you flex Swift or Gibbs in half PPR.
Oh man. This is close. This is close.
Not a great, well, really not a great matchup for either guy. Tough
No.
run defense, New Orleans. Just tough defense period for 49ers. I think I would lean toward the guy who is the clear lead only back there versus Gibbs splitting touches. But
Yeah, and I was
might
looking
be
at the Saints. I'm like, well, maybe they give up a lot of receptions in yards to running back. Nope, they don't do that either. Even though Bijan did torch that linebacker last week. Yeah, go Swift. Go Swift.
yeah. How about this? Liam Pelican. Hollywood and Warren for Pickens and Monty.
I think at this point I want Hollywood and Warren. I don't know which side you're getting, but I think I want Hollywood and Warren. Again, the Steelers have a fantastic playoff schedule, as does the Cardinals for wide receivers. Like they both have fantastic playoff schedules. I mean, Monty, yeah, he's fine, but Pickens, I mean, you got to really hope. Like we didn't see like the offense put up over 400 yards. Pat Fryermuth was great. Najee was great, but Pickens still kind of was just George Pickens, right? Just kind of out there running around and every now and then catching a pass. So I think I got to take Hollywood and Warren.
Yeah, thanks for nothing, Ian Rappaport getting my hopes up. Big Pickens breakout game.
That tweet. Oh,
You
this
even
is like
said
the
that's the
third
kiss
or
of
fourth
death.
time this year. Look, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, those guys, fantastic at breaking news. Horrible at like fantasy football advice. Don't like do that. Like if Ian Rappaport sends out a tweet this week that says like Jalen Warren's getting all the touches, I'm gonna play Najee Harris like over everybody, over every.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's like okay, Najee Harris 20 touches against the Cardinals confirmed.
Because he's really probably doing the head coach or the front office a solid by having them leak it to the media so that the other team is like, oh man, they're going to feature this guy. Let's concentrate on it. And just, yeah, it's like subterfuge here. So, anyways, I would prefer the Hollywood Warren side. You got to think Monty ahead of Warren, but the gap has closed a lot and it's
Yeah,
pretty close. I think you have to prefer Hollywood over Pickens. You just have to. He's getting so many more targets. So if you would be giving up Hollywood Warren, then nah, don't do that. And Stefan wants to know, which two running backs to pick here in half? Swift, Pollard, Monty.
I think I'm going Swift and Pollard. I don't dislike Monty, but I don't love this spot for him this week on the road against the Saints. Swift is still the lead back. Pollard's still the lead back. Good matchup against the Seahawks at home. I'm going to go Swift and Pollard.
Yeah, I think basically we just talked about with Monty splitting carries, tough matchup. Monty's certainly an RB2 this week and startable, but I think Pollard is a little more like a low end RB1 this week. I mean, just based on the landscape. And Swift, I'm just going to put a little bit over Monty because of, again, I tend to with running backs when everything else is kind of equal. Again, matchup's not good, whatever. I'll lean toward the guy who's probably going to get more opportunities. So it's probably going to get more opportunities. So yeah, Swift and Pollard it is. And then Ayush with a follow-up here. He wants to know, rate each rest of season. Got Christian Watson, Amari, London, Puka, and Addison.
All right, I think I still got to go Puka 1. I think I'm going to go London 2. I don't know. Let me look. What is the Falcons' schedule? Rest of the season. They get the Bucks. That's great. The Panthers. That's great. The Colts. The Bears. Okay, yeah. I'm going. Wow. London has a fantastic rest of season schedule after this week. So I'm going to go. I think I'm still going to go Puka 1. Maybe I'm too high on Puka. London 2. Watson 3, because he also has a great schedule. Addison 4. Cooper last. I can't. Man. Cooper last, sadly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm looking like Amari has to be last, just based on what we've seen. Nothing to do with the rib injury. He'll probably play this week, but we don't even know who the quarterback is. He's been terrible with anybody who isn't Deshaun Watson. So right. Amari has to be last. I think at this point, I have to put Addison second to last. And then, I mean, look, I don't want to go too far on Watson, but I'm coming around on him. I'll put him 3. I'll put London. I guess, I don't know. I'm really not that high on Puka, but I guess I'll still put him over London. So Puka, London, Watson, Addison, Amari is my order. And then he asked, trade any, because these are kind of like his, what do you say, bench? All mid, but it's my bench. Okay, well, that's good.
I mean, maybe Puka still has some value. I don't know what you're going to give for these guys. Maybe Watson has value now. Maybe people are all excited about Watson again, coming off that big game. Maybe they're like, okay, he's back.
I mean, I doubt you're getting anything for Addison because he's not even playing this weekend. Has been bad. Not he's been bad, but the team has been bad. And Amari, I mean, you can get anything for Amari Cooper, sure, just do it. Puka is probably the most tradable, like you say. All right, what about Justin Keene? Kicker question. Do you like McManus or Bucker this week? Needs every point.
I think Bucker's Chiefs, right?
Bucker's
McManus, I don't even know. Broncos, but I don't think he's Broncos anymore. But that's just all I remember. McManus is from the Broncos.
That's curious. He's with the Jags now.
I think it isn't Buck. I mean, I don't know anything about kickers, but I feel like isn't Bucker one of those guys you have him, you just start him every week, you don't think about it?
For the most part, I mean, the Chiefs are one of the more reliable offenses, but the thing is with the Jags is they're one of those offenses that tends to kick field goals a little bit more often, just because they don't cash in the red zone as often as the Chiefs. This week, I will say this, that the Bengals give up the 7th most fantasy points to kickers. Look, it's a thing. It doesn't matter.
What am I listening to right now? This can't be real life. Fantasy points to kickers.
I know. Just go Bucker. He's fine.
How many points do the Packers give up 2 kickers?
Actually, well, let me think about this because Bucker, they're going to go at Lambeau Field. Is there like bad weather in Lambeau? It might be
I
bad
feel like
weather.
we haven't had bad weather ever this year. Like the weather's just been great. Let's see. Do we have any weather? Do we have any potential weather concerns yet? Let's see. Well, nothing there yet. Let's see. Maybe check. Is there one that's come out? My go-to source has not posted anything yet. Let's see.
And Jaguars are in sunny Florida, so maybe better conditions.
True. Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Chargers, Patriots. They're talking about something. Falcons, Jets. Talking about something. What are we looking for here? We're looking for Chiefs, Packers, Dolphins, Commanders, 49ers, Eagles, Chiefs at Green Bay. Temperatures will feel like 23 degrees. As it pertains to rain or snow, there are some snow showers in the area, but as of Tuesday, those are expected to pass before the kickoff. Winds won't be a factor, so just cold. Just going to be cold. Does cold weather affect kickers? I don't know.
Depends on the kicker. Look, I'll lean McManus. Let's put it that way.
All right, there you go.
Might be more field goal ish type of game. Mark Bone. Superflex. Stroud, T-Law, and Herbert. Start 2.
Man.
Now, that's a question.
I think you got to start Stroud. Who did the Chargers play this week?
Patriots.
Yeah. Are they in? No, they're in New England, huh? Because Rams are at home.
Yeah, in New England.
I might go Stroud and T-Law. I mean, Herbert hasn't even been putting up big games recently. New England's not like not terrified of that defense, but they're not horrible on defense. They play so slow, and I might go Stroud and T-Law this week. I like T-Law a lot at home against the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't know. Something tells me that game will have a lot of field goals. Jacksonville just kicked it. Projecting field goal kickers. No, I don't know. It's hard for me to sit Herbert. I mean, yeah, I think T-Law should be fine this week, but also really I don't know. I feel like against the Bengals, like not a good run defense. We know this, and they're going to have an easy time running the ball. I don't think they're going to have to pass it as much. I might go Stroud and Herbert. Hate to split the decision here, Mark, but if it's me, I would go Stroud and Herbert. T-Law is still going to be fine too, though, so it's not like it's a big difference. Muth or Ferguson?
I think you got to go Muth over Ferguson this week. I could see Ferguson scoring, but Muth should be more involved. So I think you got to go Muth.
Yeah, I'm going Muth. And then Sharp over Pop.
I'd probably go Sharp over Pop either way. I mean, do you really want to start Demario Douglas with Bailey Zappi, even against the Chargers? No, I don't. I'm going to Charbonnet.
Yeah, I can sit Pop this week. I like the player. I sort of in a good situation in terms of target share, not a good situation in terms of his offense. And then Puka for Pop. Yeah, you can start Puka over Pop.
Yeah, I'll start Puka over Pop, definitely.
Would you drop Algier for Rico?
Algier's interesting because everybody just assumes he's the direct handcuff to Bijan Robinson. But Cordero Patterson was actually running as the number 2 until that very last drive when they went down for 90 yards to kick the game-winning field goal or whatever. Or not the game-winning, but the icing field goal, the field goal that Ice did or whatever. If something happened to Bijan, please, no, I could not take a Bijan injury. But if something did happen, is Algier the guy, or are they gonna is it gonna be Patterson? I don't even know.
I think it's still Algier. He's getting so much run even with Bijan.
But not last week. He did okay on that last drive. He did, but Cordell Patterson was getting more run than Algier last week before that last drive. It was very interesting.
Yeah, he did make an appearance.
Yeah.
I don't know, is Arthur
Like that.
Smith now defiantly not playing Algier because he played him too much in the first 10 weeks or something? I don't know.
He's like, okay, you don't want to see Algier? I'm going to give you Cordell Patterson then. It's like, no, Arthur, we just want Bijan Robinson. We
Yeah.
don't want Cordell Patterson. We just want Bijan Robinson. Ah,
I mean, I hear what you're saying. You're going to get the guy you're pretty sure is just the guy in Dallas if
yes.
Tony Pollard goes down versus Algier, and like maybe it's going to be a committee or something. Yeah,
Also, Rico's been better. Algier hasn't even looked good when given his chances this year.
right.
I think I'm just holding Rico.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If this is just pure handcuff, anyways. I
Maybe
mean,
it's
if you
just out
have
of spite.
Pollard,
Maybe it's just out of
yeah,
spite. I don't want Algier, but
and not support the evil empire. Yeah, I get that.
I mean, Tyler Algier has been awful this year. Like the fact that he's still getting carries. Like I will say he was good on that last drive last week, but that's because the Saints were like, okay, whatever, and the Falcons just ran all over him that last drive.
Yeah.
But prior to that, he had not been good, and I mean, like, just has not been good this year. I mean, averaging 3.5 yards per carry.
I
Ugh,
know.
like terrible. Like, I don't know. At least Rico Dowdle has shown something.
Yeah,
Plus, I
I'll
mean, do
say,
you really are you like here's the other thing. Maybe this is my Bijan fandom here. Like, how good are you gonna feel? Like, oh, Bijan's hurt. I have Tyler Algier. Yes. Like, who wants that? Who wants that? You have to be like an evil person to want that.
oh, we don't want any of these guys. Like, I don't want Tony Pollard or any of these guys to be hurt either. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's gonna be
Or
like
like if
like
Tony
it'd be like a
Pollard gets
hollow
hurt, yes, I'll
victory
be
if
sad
Algier
for
leads
Tony
your team to
Pollard.
victory.
Yeah, but what I mean is like if Tony Pollard gets hurt, it's like, yes, that sucks for Tony Pollard. I like Tony Pollard. But it's like, okay, Tony Pollard got hurt. That sucks. I feel bad for him. Move on. Bijan gets hurt. I might never show up to his stream the rest. I might be done. I might just retire. I might like be see you guys next year. I can't handle that. I could not handle that. It's like, come on. This is Bijan Robinson. This is the next Barry Sanders. Like, we need this guy healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we definitely do. All right. Dowdle it is.
Anyways.
Dowdle it is. What about this? Boomer, if someone dropped Godwin, worth giving up your hopes and dreams of Damian Pierce?
Probably. Yes. Probably.
Probably yes. Dimitrios wants to know between Mixon or Singletary. This is
I'm going
non-PPR.
Singletary. At least he gets the Broncos this week. But Mixon? Like, no. I barely even liked Mixon when Joe Burrow was healthy. Now, no way. No way.
Yeah, exactly. Non-PPR just makes it even easier for me to say Singletary. Brock or Goff?
I'm going Brock this week. I like it against the Eagles. Should be a high scoring game. Eagles secondary doesn't scare me at all. Not feeling Goff on the road against the Saints. Give me Brock.
Yeah, Brock is actually in a really good spot this week. Expected fantasy points are high. Yeah, I would definitely go Brock this week. And then he's got another. Evan Ingram or Gerald Everett?
Oh, it's Evan Ingram. Even in non PPR, it's Evan Ingram. I mean, okay, maybe you get the one touchdown from Everett, but that's all you're really getting. It's got to be Evan Ingram.
Oh, yeah, he agrees.
Liam
It
agrees.
is. Ayush agrees. It's Ingram 100%. I agree for sure. All right, we're gonna hang on for a little bit longer. Dimitrios got another question. I think we pretty much caught up to the super chats almost. Chargers or Jags defense?
I mean, both are good this week. Bailey's happy. That can't scare you. But what scares you? What scares you on the Bengals? Like Jamar Chase taking a slant 50 yards to the house? Like that's it, right? Like what else scares you? At least the Patriots have Ramondre Stevenson. He could run all over this Chargers defense. I mean, they're both good options. I'm going to go Jaguars at home though against the Bengals and Jake Browning.
Well, also, I think the Chargers are in a better matchup because Bailey Zappi and the Patriots kind of pathetic offense, but the Jaguars is just a better actual defense. The Chargers give up so many yards, and they won't this week. But I feel better about the Jags getting sacks because they got guys like Josh Allen, but making big plays potentially. So I would go for the upside with the Jags. And then interesting one here, Andre Quinones. Want to start Thielen, but wondering if it's better to go with Downs.
I mean, Thielen is tough because it's such a good matchup this week against that Bucs secondary. But also, he had a great matchup last week against what? The Titans secondary, right?
Yeah.
1 catch, 3 targets, like getting out targeted by 3 dudes. Maybe just go Downs. Maybe just go Downs.
I mean, it's funny because he's saying that he thinks Thielen has the upside and Downs is safer. Kind of see it the opposite way, that I think the upside is with Downs. He might be safer also. Who knows? But yeah. I mean, do we really think this Carolina team is going to be fired up and put up a huge game, which for them would be like 17 points? You know, it's like, no, I don't think so.
By the way, isn't the who's the head coach now? Who's the interim coach?
It was really weird. It's like the special teams coach or something. It's not even.
But now the offensive coordinator is a guy that was the offense coordinator for like 3 weeks, and they're like, right. They were even worse with that OC. They were somehow even worse.
Exactly. And if I remember, the first week when they switched away from Reich to that guy, it was less Thielen. It was more like, oh, let's get Jonathan Mingo involved. Let's try to do something different. And
which is what they should do.
They won their one game, and then they just went back to being themselves.
Yeah. Which is what they should do. What's the point of, like, the Thielen signing was like the most absurd signing of the year. Not that anything. It's just Thielen made no sense for this team. Like, why are you signing Adam Thielen to a 3-year deal when you're about to draft Bryce Young? Like, what are you doing? Like,
not smart things, apparently. Jay Hughes, last question. Oh, look, typos happen, but also autocorrect happens. I figured it out. All right. Explain the Cup bench advice. Okay, so why benching Cup, especially versus Puka? Or I know we say we don't like Metcalf this week either.
Yeah, the main reason, look, I don't like Cup, Puka, or Metcalf this week, to be honest. But Puka is healthy. I don't think Cup is close to 100% right now. I mean, last week he caught that pass, and then they were looking at his ankle again, and I just don't think Cup is healthy. So at least Puka's healthy, and Metcalf is also healthy, and we know Metcalf at least can have like a big play, catch a touchdown. Cup just looks bad and injured and just, like I said, not healthy. So until I see, like, look, if he goes out there this week, looks fairly good, catches some passes, okay, maybe I'll feel better about him next week. It's like, okay, maybe he's back to, maybe he's healthy again, but he just looks far from healthy right now.
It's really a combination of things, and that's why it's easy. I mean, it's not easy to say bench Cooper Kupp, but it's not going to be too hard to make a case against him. Say, number one, doesn't look healthy. I mean, that's always a risk. He does exactly what he did last week. Starts grabbing at the ankle again and just is not effective. Number two, it's been a long time since he's had a good fantasy game, healthy or not healthy. And number three, he gets the second worst possible matchup he could possibly get. Only second because the Jets are the toughest. Cleveland is the second best defense against wide receivers in fantasy specifically. Fantasy points per game allowed, Cleveland is number 2. Only the Jets are better. And the Jets are good because they shut down number 1 receivers. Cleveland kind of shuts everybody down equally. So there's just a lot of reasons not to like Kupp this week. So I can easily say to sit Cup. Puka at least is healthy.
Yeah,
And
still don't
then
like him
last
this
one
week.
for Ayush. What's that?
Yeah, I still don't like Puka this week, but at least he's
No,
healthy.
that was all we had to work with. Ayush,
Right.
Moss versus Titans? Question mark. Pittman auto must start. Yes.
Yeah, Pittman, I think close to a must start. Yeah, I like Moss versus the Titans. I mean, he went crazy against them last time. He's gonna get every touch. I still like Moss this week, even against the Titans. Yes.
Yeah, Pittman, pretty much a must start. Moss can't say must because it depends who else you got. But good spot for him. All right, unless anybody slides in with a last second super chat, we're gonna call it and say if you got any more questions for sure you want answered, you can let us know right now. We will be back tomorrow before the game.
Yep.
We'll get in
Get you
there.
ready
And,
for week 13.
week 13 already here. I feel like we just ended week 12 and here we go again and we're just starting another one. So we'll be here to break down a little bit tomorrow's matchup, see if there's any other breaking news, and of course answer your questions. I think we got one right here. Max at the last minute, Max Leitner. 12 team, full PPR, pick 1, 1, and 1. Swift, Moss, Garrett Wilson, Hollywood, Deontay, Watson, McBride. Yeah, McBride popped up on the injury report today, but I mean, too soon to assume anything.
Yeah, not worried yet. As of right now, I'm gonna go Swift, Hollywood, and Moss. Gonna be my running back, wide receiver, and flex. And then at tight end, I'm going McBride. But look, if McBride's out, Muth should be fine too. So I wouldn't be too stressed about it.
Yeah, I mean, keep McBride in there unless you know he's out. Really hope he's not. Although, you know what? This actually might work out well for you because if McBride is out, Hollywood could smash even bigger, right? I
Right.
mean,
Right.
hypothetically. I think you got to play Swift here. I like Hollywood this week. You know that. Go with McBride unless he's out. And then, part of me might be tempted to think about Watson, but I'm probably just going to go Moss. All right. And Anthony, I'll also slide in here. What's up, Anthony?
What's up?
She Rice or Drake London?
I'm going Rice this week. I cannot feel good about Drake London. Desmond Ridder on the road against the Jets. Yeah, I can't feel good about Drake London this week. Give me Rice.
Yeah, London is just a bad spot. Bad spot. Well, bad quarterback, but also a bad spot this week. So London is the guy you kind of have to rely more on in good matchups. He's going to be very matchup dependent, I think. And he kind of has been this year, hasn't he? Like he's done well when he's had a kind of softer defense, not his fault, but that's just how this offense is. Just don't even know. Are they even going to try to pass the ball? I could see the Falcons attempting like 9 passes this week.
I hope that's the case. Just give Bijan Robinson 25 carries, please.
We could see that legitimately. I think we could see
Bijan
that.
Robinson 25 carries will go for 150 plus yards this week.
And then Jeremy Lopez, Hollywood over Wilson. Talk about Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I'm going Hollywood over Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I'm going Hollywood over Garrett Wilson, definitely.
All right. There you go. Yeah, I think we'll call it there. Thank you for our viewers like Wiggly Tuna. And also, I scroll too far. That's what happens. All right. Let's thank you to everybody for watching. We appreciate you. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Don't forget, all the videos should be out. And there's more coming. Got more videos all throughout the weekend as well. So check all that out. And of course, you haven't tried Underdog. We'll talk more about that tomorrow as well. But for now, have a good one.